We are live. Well, good morning, everybody, and good afternoon to some of you out there. I want to welcome you all to the Global Pandemic Summit. Today, we're going to have an incredible event and with incredible speakers. You have no idea how well you're going to get educated today. The reason I want to introduce you today to my co-host, Dela Fotoohi. Hi, Dela.
Hello, Jack. Hello, everybody. And thank you so much for joining us today on the Global Pandemic Summit. It is so nice to have you here. This is, you know what, these are trying times and a lot of people are looking for a direction in their lives. And it is up to the leaders to take a step and step out of their comfort zone and do something so that the rest of the people can benefit and can feel that positive impact in their lives. And I want to congratulate all of you who decided to show up today, whether you're a speaker on the speakers panel, because you have so much value and you're bringing so much to the world and you're impacting other people's lives, but also people who have decided to join us today, who have bought a ticket and who have joined us here today. There's a reason why you're here, so pay attention, and it is up to you to gain as much knowledge as you can so that you now become a better impact for other people in their lives. So it is up to all of us. So I want to thank you, Jack, for inviting me as your co-host. It is absolutely my pleasure and my honor to be here. Back to you, Jack.
Well, thank you, Dela. Well, the purpose of this summit was all about finding a new direction. What is that? Well, what is that, finding a new direction in your life? Well, I got a little quiz that I have for you, Dela. Is what does it mean, the saying that if you're willing to change, everything can change? What's the meaning behind that?
Is that asking me, Jack? Are you asking?
Yes, Dela.
Okay,
I'm asking you.
We had not rehearsed this, Jack. You can't like this.
It's okay. We're live. That's what it's all about.
Right? So, you know, what that means to me is actually, it brings me to a quote from Dr. Wayne Dyer: when you change the way you look at things, the things you look at change. And I think a lot of us have seen that quote. And for me, that has been the biggest impact in my life, because I did have to change the way I looked at things. Perception was everything for me. So as a result of that, my life has changed because I look at things differently. Does that answer your question, Jack?
Absolutely, Dela. No, you know, I've been doing personal growth the last 25 years, and sometimes these are all the little nuggets. Sometimes that you said they're saying that you cannot change your life direction overnight, but I want to say that I apologize. Not that is you can't change your life overnight, but you can change direction in an instant. And sometimes these are all the little nuggets that sometimes that you'll hear that makes you turn on the light inside your head and say, wow, I never thought about it that way. And therefore, you completely change the way you thought. Your thought process totally changed. You know, I've heard one time is a guy was saying, Jim Rohn was saying that formal education will make you a living, but self-education will make you a fortune. I said, what is the meaning behind that? You know, because we go to school, we go to universities, but yet we don't learn about the real principle of life, which is finance, self-education. Who do we go to when we need answers beyond schools? And this is the best place to get answers today, especially with the COVID going on. You couldn't have been in a better place than right now, right here. So that's what we're here today, is to help change people's lives. And I cannot wait to hear back from the feedback about if we touch somebody today, because this is what it's all about. It's about helping people change their lives and find a new direction.
Thank you, Jack. This is amazing. And I want to thank you for stepping up and creating this amazing platform for us to learn something today. And here's our intention today: even if we can help out one person today, find some direction in their lives and then we have done our job. So I want to thank you. I think we should get started because people are waiting to hear from amazing speakers today. Jack, what do you think?
Absolutely, it's a good time to start. So we'll go, I guess, with the introduction of our first speaker for today.
Yes, Jack. So I have an introduction to make here to an amazing speaker, and it is absolutely my pleasure to do that. Evie Shaw. Evie was born in Texas and now lives in North Louisiana. She graduated from East Texas Baptist University with a bachelor's degree in psychology and received a master's degree in general counseling from Louisiana Tech. She was a public school teacher for 7 years. Evie Shaw is now a dynamic speaker and a life coach, as well as a Bob Proctor consultant. Her main platform is built on and around the magic of gratitude philosophy. Evie joined forces with Bob Proctor and the Proctor Gallagher Institute as a consultant. Bob always says, "Tell me what you want and I will show you how to get it." Now she spends her time helping people get what they want. She also enjoys leading people through their personal journey into the magic of gratitude. It is absolutely my pleasure to introduce you to Evie Shaw.
Hi,
Good
I'm so
morning,
glad to
Evie.
be here. Hi. And when I wrote that bio, I wasn't an international best-selling author, but now I am. So
So you're gonna have to explain to us what the magic of gratitude, because to the people that's out there listening, I think everybody can't wait to hear your story.
all right. Well, so my chapter in the book, which is called Awakened, is about my journey when my ex-husband left and the journey that I went on and the transformation that took place. And the book is called Awakened. And I was so thankful to be able to be a part of that a couple months ago. And since then, my life has taken off in an amazing direction, as well as since I met Bob Proctor in February, my life has just catapulted into amazing places. And so that leads me here today. I'm so thankful to be here and be a part of this.
That's nice. That's nice. So what made you change? What made you change direction in your life?
All right. So when I was a little girl, I remember laying in my bed and just thinking, how do you get a daddy to stay? And that changed me somehow. I don't know where it came from. I don't know, but it caused me to always be searching, what do you do to have a good marriage, even at a young age? And so that little girl just wanted the fairy wedding, marriage, one husband, one wife, wonderful children, and they lived happily ever after. And so that was my goal. That was my plan. That's how I proceeded forward. And so I got married, and we were married 8 years before we had our first son. And then we had our second son and our third son all in less than 3 years. So I had a 2-year-old, a 1-year-old, and a new-year-old. And so that's 3 car seats, 3 baby beds, 3 high chairs. Anyway, life was great. It was wonderful. And so I had been a public school teacher before that. And then when I had these wonderful little humans, I wanted to stay home with them. And so that's what I was able to do. I was able to stay home and homeschool them. And so I did that. And one morning in July, I woke up just like every other morning, husband by my side, and we were moving about our day, took the boys to the movie. And when I came home, there was a note in the bathroom, an envelope. I was like, woohoo, a love note, right? I mean, what wife doesn't want a love note? And so I opened it up, and it was not a love note. It was I'm leaving and I need time to think. And I couldn't believe it, because these kids, these boys they are so amazing. They were so amazing. They were fun. They made being a mother like just an amazing job. They were fun and funny. And so how could he want to leave that? Us, them, me. And so anyway, a few months went on, and so he's living somewhere else with someone else, and I'm here at our house raising our children. And so I have a cave, a woman cave, and I went back to my cave, which is my library and my study and all that. And there was a book on the shelf, and I just felt led to go get this book. And so I did, and I opened it up. It just fell open, and it was to a place, and I read the story, and it was about a woman, and this is my shortened version, but about a woman whose husband was an alcoholic, and he got put in jail for whatever reason, I don't know. And so the wife was, of course, angry, and, oh, he's no good, his shenanigans. Anyway, then it went on to say, so they divorced, he moved on, and she got a hold of a thankful message, and she began giving thanks for what this was doing in her life, what her husband had done. Anyway, they got back together, and, in my words, lived happily ever after. And so the whole theme of the story was she began to give thanks, and everything changed. And I'm like, oh my goodness, wait a minute here. What is this saying? What is this saying to me? And it was like, it can't be for real that I would need to give thanks for my husband not being here, not sleeping here, being with someone else. It surely can't be that. And so I put it back on the shelf, and I went on. And 5 days later, I was at, we have a homeschool group, and I was at the homeschool group, and a woman whom I've never seen before, and I've never seen her since, she came and she did a little presentation to our homeschool group, and she told about a book, and she said, this book has changed our family's lives. And she just told about all this change that took place in their family. And so anyway, I love books, and I'm like, I gotta have this book. So she had some copies. She gave me her copy, and the one she had. And so I came home, and I began reading it. And the whole theme of the whole book was to give thanks for everything. And I was like, oh no, that really is where we're going with this, isn't it? Like, oh darn. And so this book was amazing. I loved it. I read it all that night. And before I even finished, I'd gotten on Amazon and ordered more books by this author. And so within the next couple of days, I had about 7 books by the same author, and testimonials of thankful people who had been thankful, and the miracles that happened in their lives. And so anyway, it was clear. It was clear what I needed to do. And it didn't seem right. It didn't seem fair. Didn't sound very fun. And it didn't seem like it would be so easy. So, but as I read, and the stories were miraculous. It was clear that this was a good thing for everybody else who had done it. And so in it, the man points out that we have to even give thanks for things that aren't so much going our way. Like maybe if your car broke down, or you had a flat tire, or you lost your keys, something, but give thanks for that, because something good can come from it. And so anyway, something that really, really hurt me, on top of hurt at the time, was that we didn't see my husband on the weekends. Like, he didn't check in on us. And it hurt so bad, because to me, in my fairy book world, we should be spending time on the weekends together. So anyway, so that's how my journey began, is I began to say I'm thankful that my husband's not here this weekend. And if he was supposed to be here, he would. And I'm thankful that he's not checking on the children or texting me, because if he was supposed to, he would. I wasn't happy about it, and I didn't like what I was saying, and I wasn't even saying it nicely. But I wanted to do what I was reading. I wanted the good results of what I had seen in the books. So I began doing that over and over. And anytime something happened that I especially didn't like, I would say, okay, I'm thankful for that because it's bringing about a better good. And if I was supposed to know that information, I would know it. And if he's supposed to be here, he'll be here. And so I just kept on and kept on. And in the process, I began changing. I began calming down. I began to trust whatever was happening and that the best good would come, because all I could see, all that little 8-year-old girl could see, is that this one marriage had to work and there's no other option. And I couldn't see past that. And I laid on my floor 18 months crying and just wanting him to come back, and only wanting, our marriage to be put back together and our family to be put back together. And so anyway, he did keep coming home. We had always eaten lunch together because we were a homeschool family, and he came home for lunch. And so we would play games. It was like part of our curriculum. For 1 hour, we would all talk. We would do trivia. We just had the best time, the 5 of us, and we laughed and carried on. And he kept doing that. And I was so thankful. And I wanted to be kind to him, and I wanted for my kindness to draw him back home, because I had begun to realize through this process that I hadn't acted so nicely. I had become gripey and nagging, and he had an affair before. And so it's kind of like I would pull him close and push him away, because he did that to me. Like, come back to me, you can't leave, but you did that to me, so stay away, kind of, which I didn't know I was doing that. If I'd have known it, I would have tried to do different. So anyway, throughout this thankful journey, I just began to see myself and knew, wow, he probably wouldn't want to come back to that person because it wasn't so fun. And so I just began to change. And so a year later, after I had been in this thankful journey for 1 year, I went back in my cave, and there was a book on the floor. And again, it was clear that this book was talking to me, calling my name. And so I picked it up and I read the story that it fell open to. And it said that there was a woman. Now, it's a different book, so I've mentioned several, and this is not any of them that I've mentioned so far. And it was about a woman whose husband, who was an alcoholic, he had got put in jail. He had gone on, they divorced, he left. And she got a hold of the thankful journey. And when she did, he came back, they remarried, lived happily ever after. That's my version, right? So this book went on to say, when she began the thankful journey, she began to see herself and the role she played in it. And it changed her. And it was just like, I had seen that happening, but then it became like, this is exactly what happened to me. I saw who I was. I became kinder. I became more loving. It just changed who I was completely, from being anxious and uptight to just kind of trust in the process. So whatever happens, happens. And one visual that I have that comes to mind is, and because I'm homeschooled, because we were homeschooled, science project. But if you have a glass of water and you have the dirt in it, and then you pour water in it and more water, you how many cups does it take to get all the dirt out? And so that's how I felt with me, that the more the kindness and the love and the thankfulness went in, the junk rose out and left. And so that's how I see myself and the journey. And so it really, really, really changed who I was. And so it was so transformational that even though I never thought I would be able to say, I'm thankful my husband left, because all I ever wanted was my husband to stay. I was thankful for the change that had taken place, because it was bigger than anything else in the whole story.
Wow. I'm dying to ask you one question.
Yes.
Is, Evie, what was the book, since this summit is about education, changing people's life, what is that book that changed yours?
So the one book that changed me, that got me on the road, was it's called Prison to Praise by Merlin Carruthers. And it's a little bitty book, and it tells of his journey. He went to jail, and then he got a hold of the thankful message and just radically changed his life. Now, the very first book that I mentioned is a book called 21 Days of Praise or 31 Days of Praise. I can't remember. I had it for 10 years. I had read it 10 years before. And so 21 or 31 Days of Praise by the last name Meyer, M-E-Y-E-R. I can't think of her first name, but it's not Joyce. So so Merlin Carruthers, all of his books, I got a hold of every one that I could find, every one that was out there. They all have the same theme. They just have this bigger story of how the thankful worked in that one. He has two out now. He has passed away, but he has two out that were just testimonials from when his first one went out. All the testimonials of changed lives came to him. He had to make 2 books full, which wasn't even all of the stories, of course, but anyway, so 2 of them are testimonials. And what's funny is I was looking for him because I wanted to talk to him, and right when I found a way to connect with him, he had just passed away within days. And so, yeah. So anyway, but he and his message changed my life for sure.
Evie, I have a question for you, actually.
All right.
And it's because I know your story, and I've interviewed you a couple of times, so I know your story. And the message you're bringing out today is so strong and is so powerful, and that's the power of gratitude. And you went through a really tough time right after your husband left, through something even tougher.
Right.
And you still found that power of gratitude helping you along the way. And that's the reason why you're here today, because your message has so much to do with what you went through. Would you give us a story, that part of your story, because I believe it's so powerful, and then also tell us what you're bringing us today and how you're leaving today's summit. Thank you.
Okay, awesome. So I do want to say, in answer to her question, but kind of taking a little bit of a long way around, when I wrote the chapter and when I lived it, I thought that was the most devastating thing I could have ever gone through in my life, because of that little girl who wanted that one family, one marriage, one husband, the whole deal. And so I say in the chapter at the end, I say that these events pale in comparison to what I went through after. So after my husband and I got a divorce, my 3rd son passed away from cancer, and he was 17 years old. And so at that time, my children were 17, 18, and 19. And they had been so close all their lives. They homeschooled. I told you that, but they loved each other, being within a year, within 1 year of each other. And so, yeah, it was devastating, because I never thought he was going anywhere. I just knew he was going to be okay. He was a fighter. He was born with a blood disorder, and he was just this tough kid. He had to get transfusion every month for the first few years of his life. And he just went in there and he'd hold up his arm and get the needle stick. And he was just tough. He never cried. He never complained. He never fussed. And so I just knew he was going to come through and tell his story of how he had overcome the cancer. And so that's not how the story ended. But I will say, because of what I had gone through with my husband, it did help me make progress in the grieving journey. And there's nothing light about a grieving journey of losing your child at all. But I learned how to think differently. And it made such a tremendous difference to where before maybe I wouldn't have been able to get off the floor. Like with my husband, I was literally 18 months on the floor when I was by myself, just crying. But when I learned this thankful message, I learned to think differently and use the Wayne Dyer quote. It's so powerful when you change the way you look at things. The things you look at change. And in my book, I tell before, when my husband would come home from work and he would be late, he'd say, I'm going to get home at 6, and it'd be 6:20. I'd be like, where were you at 6:20? 20 minutes late. You told me you could be out at 6. Well, after he left and I only wanted to come home, it didn't matter if he came home at 6:30, 7:30. It didn't matter. I just wanted him to come in the door. Right. And I was so happy when he did and thankful when he did. So my whole perspective and perception changed. It was so radical. So that did help me when I lost my son to be able to make progress. And plus the fact that my son would have never laid in the bed and never just given up. And so that gave me the courage to press on. So.
Wow, that's a good story. My heart is with you, Evie. It's quite a story. Is that the story that's in your book?
The story that is in the chapter that's out is about my husband and that thankful journey. I will have a book coming out about my son's life, but that will be a ways away. And so right now I have a book that Robert's working on, and it's called Live Your Dream with Evie. And it tells goal setting and how to change your perception and change your thinking and move forward and make progress in your life. Like Bob Proctor, tell me what you want and I'll show you how to get it. And so that's what I want to do with people, is help them to know that the things that they want, they can get. It's out there. I think we give up on life. We let things get us down, and we kind of look at what's right in front of us. But there's more out there. We just have to be able to see it and look toward it and have hope and have faith that something better is coming. And so that is my book, Live Your Dream with Evie. And it will be also a program that I will coach a person through. And but today I am giving away my chapter, so I can send it in a PDF by email, and I'm giving away 1 hour of coaching so we can assess and see where someone is and make plans to catapult into a whole new future.
Wow, that is cool. That is cool. You know that there's a saying that says that our future depends on how we're reacting to what's happening now.
Right.
And especially with the COVID and whatever thing that happens to you, it's not what happened that's important to understand. It's what you're going to do with what happened. That is important to understand. And this is what people have to understand, because it is so easy to go into, to crawl in your own hole and all that stuff. But yet, sometimes just little tidbits of information, how we process, how we look at things, because sometimes there's an event that happens to us that it's not dependent of us, like it just happened, and we have no control, but we do have control of ourselves. It's what we decide to, how do we perceive what happened to us. That's important to understand. because we decide how we're going to react to an event.
Right, right. And that's part of my message and my hope is when I was laying on my floor for all those months, I wanted one person to tell me it was going to be okay. I just wanted one person to say, it's going to be okay. There's light at the end of the tunnel. This is not all there is to life. And I didn't have that. And I didn't know that. That's why I was in the tunnel for 18 months, not to mention the years even after. But I want to give hope to someone out there who is, maybe their husband's left, maybe they've lost their child. There is hope out there, and it's not light stuff. This is painful stuff, and I don't make light of it. I just want to give someone hope that there is life after tragedy.
Yeah, I think people just need to hear that they're not alone.
Right, exactly.
Thank you so much, Evie, for sharing this wonderful story with us today. And I know that you're going to change so many lives, not just through your book, through telling your story, but also what you're offering the world with your coaching, because you understand really well. So I want to read a couple of comments from people. I think that's going to make you really, really happy. Jenna says, thank you, Evie. I will buy the book and live your dreams. So grateful for you, Evie. Thank you for sharing your story. She says, awesome, so excited. Thank you for the summit. So you are changing lives for sure. Another comment, thanks, Evie. This is from Lizzie. And so grateful for now. People are saying, thank you for sharing your story again. And thank you, beautiful story. I enjoyed the story. Thank you. Truly, there is life after tragedy. Thank you so much for sharing your story. And thank you for bringing us your wonderful prize. Can't wait for someone to win that amazing prize. Thank you, Evie, so much. We're so grateful to have you here.
Thank you.
Yes,
Thank
Evie.
you. I'm thankful to be here.
Mr. Jack, who is next?
Well, the next on our list is Olga Gaydon. Well, Olga Gaydon is an award-winning mindset coach. She received the most inspirational coach in the East Midland, which is UK, United Kingdom, award in 2020, and she was voted to be president of the Professional Speaking Association of the Yorkshire region in 2021. Olga is working with clients one-on-one using her unique Reinvent Yourself transformational program internationally and speak on the mindset transformation remotely and at the live events. She's passionate about living life to the fullest and owning every day like it was the best day in her life. And she certainly walks the talk. She arrived in the UK in 2009 with only 100 pounds in her pocket and was not able to speak a word in English, but perseverance and a choice to thrive instead of just survive brought her to sharing stages with other inspirational speakers. Change your mindset, change your life is your favorite motto in life she lives by. Well, it is an honor to have her speak on our summit today. So please welcome Olga Gaydon.
Thank you so much. That is very, very delightful moment for me now, because I know that every time we are standing on the stage, whether it is virtual or whether it is face-to-face, we are changing lives. And it is an honor for me today to be amongst others so incredible speakers. I must say that today's topic is all about to find a way forward amongst all of us during this summit. And my particular topic is about why depolarization is more contagious than COVID-19. As we all know, right now we are in a very challenging times, right? But let's not focus on how challenging times they are. Let's focus on the way forward. Just like Evie just shared, it's about talking and sharing and thinking and verbalizing the gratitude, right? This is the way forward, how we can impact our own lives. But how about our relationships? Think for a moment, What lately have we been doing? We were stuck at home. We were in a lockdown. We're experiencing pandemic situation where we cannot go out for a date night. We cannot go out for walks. We couldn't live that normal life which we got used to. And I must say, more than ever, I was receiving requests about couples to asking to help them with their relationships. This is not a surprise because, again, depolarization is more contagious than COVID-19 and it's more contagious than anything else. But actually, what is depolarization? Such a smart word. Well, for those who probably never came across that, let me explain. Depolarization is when there is no play between masculine energy and feminine energy. When they stopped playing, when there is no chemistry, there's no spiciness, there's nothing happening in between them. Why does it happen? That's a good question. I'm not going to get into that. But actually what we need to remember that there are symptoms which we need to pay attention. And right now, if you are in relationships, it's time to pay attention to your partner. So what happens with depolarization? Well, whether it is a straight couple or a gay couple, there's always more masculine partner and a feminine partner. You will always pay attention. One is stronger, is decisive, is the one who is always in charge. But another one is more feminine, is more loving, is more nurturing, is more caring, right? And this is how you know this is more masculine, this is more feminine. So with depolarization, what happens? Feminine partner feels all of a sudden insecure to be in her feminine state. And masculine partner, he feels burnt out, right? He feels like he lost himself. He's not a manly man anymore. Again, it doesn't matter what relationship you're in, whether you are in a straight relationships or you're in a gay relationships. Still, you have one masculine and you have one feminine. Let me bring a couple of examples because probably it might sound a bit of like, it's a bit dry subject, Olga. We want some juice. We want some spiciness in here. In that case, I'll bring you some spiciness here. And I'll start with my personal example, which was quite mind-blowing for me to understand. Unfortunately, I did not understand it straight away, but as it happens, right, and we all have been there, you learn later. So in my previous relationships, my partner, we started on a very high. We had great conversations. We had fabulous time. Everything was amazing. You know, one of those moments when you think, this is the one. And you know, you want to spend life together. What happened next? Over the time, as we were spending more and more time together, this is a little key takeaway for you, right? As we were spending more and more time together, he became more submissive. He became a lot softer. He became a man who is a bit depressed and angry and arguing with me with no reason. He started drinking more alcohol. He became lazy even to go for a walk. And there were so many other things which I was seeing him as completely different partner at that time. And I could not understand that. You know what happened from my side? I realized that I started working even more. And that was one of the key things for you ladies now, right? Or for those partners who are more feminine in your relationships, right? I became working more, right? I became the one who started making decisions. I became the one who was bringing up some arguments and I was pushing him, but I even didn't know where am I pushing him. And that's the thing. That's exactly what happens when polarity disappears from relationships and you get depolarized in your relationships. We all know that every man wants to make his woman happy. In your core message, in your core living, you as a man, you want to see your woman smiling and happy and joyful. So what man does? He starts saying things like, okay, darling. As you wish, darling. As you want, darling. you decide, darling. And what happens? Even though it suits us women because we think, oh, that's amazing. He gives the chance for us to decide. There is the chance for us to make these big decisions and be in charge. But actually, deep inside, every feminine creature, what she wants is for masculine energy to take over and to be in charge. So the more man wants to make women happy, the more women become unhappy. And here's a trick. How do we fix it? Which I'll tell you in a minute. At the meantime, please think about few situations of your past relationships or maybe your current relationships. And as I will say these words, right, think, did you experience that before? Or maybe you experience that right now, okay? Think of the situations when maybe that happened, right? And I will take you through the journey and I will explain you more what you can do to improve situation. So as a masculine partner in your relationships, think, have you ever been a bit of depressed? Or maybe if you're a partner of that masculine energy, think, was your partner more depressive? Or maybe he was a bit weak? Did he become a bit slow and lousy and lazy? Maybe there was less attention all of a sudden. There was a lot of attention and now there is none. What happened? We'll talk about this, right? So next thing, maybe he went more into alcohol or maybe eating more, right? And you're thinking, that's a bit strange. Why would he eat all of a sudden more? Why would he drink alcohol more, right? Maybe all of a sudden he's a lot angrier than he was before. And you see him being frustrated with no particular reason. And also, maybe there's a lot more arguments, right? Think about these, a whole bunch of descriptions, right? And I'm sure in your past relationships, you probably came across your masculine partner being one way or another out of all what I have described. And these all are signs that man is losing his masculinity. Why does it happen? Because he spends too much time with you, lady, and he wants to please you and he wants to make you happy. So what happens naturally, you lose your masculinity as a man because your chemicals in your brain completely replace the natural set of chemicals, right? Through the behaviors, through the actions which you have a lot more intimacy. And I will not go into chemicals because it can become very, very scientific topic, right? But I will talk more about what we see on the surface. The more time man spends with his woman, the less masculine he becomes. And in this case, when he becomes less masculine, woman, natural or more feminine partner naturally will become more masculine. And therefore, think about these few descriptions. Have you experienced that? And man, think maybe your ex-partner or current partner was experiencing this before or now, all right? So are you or was your partner turning more into drinking? Or maybe overeating, or maybe overworking, right? Giving a lot more to her work, but than she should. Long hours, more commitment, more responsibilities, taking more chores on her shoulders, right? Or maybe she became over caring and she became over motherly, almost like smothering you with that attention and care, right? Or very argumentative. Right? Very argumentative and nothing can please her because everything is just wrong and she is all negative. And also, is she blaming you? Right? Is she blaming you for, coming home late? Or why did you go out with your mates to the pub? Or maybe you are working too much, right? And also controlling. Is she now telling you when you should go see your parents or when you shouldn't? Is she now telling you what you should wear or what you shouldn't? And of course, pushy. So when you see these symptoms, and the reason why I call them symptoms, because we need to know what happens with our partner when depolarization happens in our relationships. So if you have seen your woman or your feminine partner behaving in one way or another, this when you know you need to help her to rebuild her femininity. And I'll tell you in a minute how. And that's exactly what happens, because you dropped your masculinity because you wanted to make her happy. She naturally, she can't even explain that, but she naturally rebuilds herself and she becomes more masculine. She becomes the one who is in charge. You know those type of women? Having balls in their pants, right? I know it's a bit tricky phrase, but that's exactly what happened to my client. I'll change the name just for the safety, right? But my client, John, he came to me, and with him, we didn't work on his relationship in the beginning. It was all about his business and how to become better businessman, how to make more money in a proper masculine mode, right? He's the provider. But then at some point, he told me, Olga, I wonder if we can work on my relationships. Because every time I go back home, I really don't feel like I want to go back home. Every time I'm on my way back home, I want to find every possible reason not to go back home. And when he told me more details, I quickly realized what happened in their relationships is depolarization. So what we agreed that he's gonna do is he will step up on his masculinity. So next time when his wife was a bit bitchy, and I call it bitch testing, when she would become very, very pushy and she would become negative, he would just turn around to her and he would say, I think that's enough. And that's the thing. To raise your masculinity is not about being aggressive. To raise your masculinity is not about becoming violent. It's about being more decisive, and it's about making a choice and decision for something to happen now. So what happened, he jumped back into my office the next time. That was pre-lockdown. That's why we could see each other face to face. He jumped back into my office and he said, Olga, that worked. That worked. He said, when I turned around to her and I told her, enough is enough. For how much longer you will be so negative? She just looked at me and she said, oh, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Right? Because he caught her out and he put her back in place. Not her as being violent, but her masculinity. He helped her to reduce her masculinity. But let's remember that all of us, we know how to rebuild it. The only thing is, we all forgot. So if you could relate to you stepping out of masculinity, or you as a lady, if you recognize yourself stepping out of your femininity, these are the tools which actually can help you. For a man, it's all about having your own space and doing your own masculine things, right? That means go out and about by yourself. You can say things like, I need my own time. And if she's following you, because in our women world, if you're not well, we want to find out. And we say things like, oh, please talk to me. You know, you can share with me how you feel. But as a man, that's not what you do. So as a man, to reassure your woman, you're not walking away from her. What you can tell her is, darling, I need my own time. My sweetheart, my love of my life, I love you, but can I just walk away? Can I just go for a walk? And I want to be by myself. If you say it in a very nice, nurturing, loving way, there is no chance she will not understand you, right? She might feel a bit insecure because that'll be the very first time. She might want you to leave your phone at home because probably she will think you're going to be calling somebody, cheating on her. Of course she will, because when we do something for the first time, it's always a bit nerve-wracking for our partners to face that. But all you have to do is just to have your time alone. So your masculinity will rebuild within yourself. You can do manly activities. That could be you going to the gym and building those muscles, like manning up, right? That also could be you're doing those heavy weights and rowing and I don't know, kicking, doing boxing, whatever masculine, aggressive and powerful there is. It could be you buying a motorcycle. I mean, I know many men think, and women, when man buys a fast car in his 40s or a motorcycle, that means it's middle life crisis. No, it's not. It's nothing to do with middle life crisis. That is your need to have your own time. And that's why you buy a fast car, which It's only 2-seaters usually, as we know. So you can go away by yourself or even with a woman. And if it is convertible, you put your windows down so you cannot hear her talking, right? And you can have your own time, right? So that's why men buy those fast cars, because they want to have their own time. They buy those fast motorcycles because they can go by themselves away. They meet with boys and they just sit there, observe other motorcycles, don't talk much, just observe and just feel the masculine energy. This is how you as a man can rebuild your masculinity. But women, let's remember that as much as a man wants to rebuild his masculinity, you can harm him if you don't allow him to rebuild that. So when your man is pulling away and he wants to go for a walk, he wants to go for a ride, he wants to go to gym, don't you tell him stuff like, oh, honey, can I go with you? Because that's not the time. That's time for him to have his own masculine time. So what you can do here is to tell him, oh, darling, have fun. And here he might feel a bit insecure about you thinking, I wonder why she's so happy as I walk away. Is she going to talk to somebody? Is she going now online dating? So what you can tell her, what are you going to do, darling? And you can answer, I'm going to meet with my girlfriends, right? So when your man pulls away and he goes either riding motorcycle or going to gym, or now he's going for a walk, I don't know, chopping some wood, I don't know what your man will decide to do. But when your man is deciding to walk away, have his own time, you as a woman, please help him by having your own fun times. This is your time. Make yourself happy. Go dancing, go yoga, go speaking to your mom. I know, go shopping. Man, give your credit card, right? Send her shopping, right? Send her shopping and then you go motorcycling, right? But have your fun time, because when he comes back, what he wants to see you being happy. Because when he made you happy simply by him walking away, and now you have all your time to yourself, then he feels that he made a difference. And you can help him to become even more masculine the more time you will give him. Simple as that. So stay happy by yourself. Do fun activities. Do girly activities. Go to spa, go for a massage, but allow your man to pull away, go away, and do his own stuff. So when he comes back, you welcome him being so super happy, being so girly, being so feminine, and then he feels like, okay, that was fun. I walked away. I spent some time with my boys. Now I feel raw and aggressive and all masculine. Now it's time to treat my girl like a queen, because your man, he will want to make you happy, and he will want to make you even happier once he saw that you can be happy by yourself. So now we help men. What about women? How can we rebuild a woman if she raises her masculinity? How can we help her to become more feminine? Well, it's all about playful times. It's all about those dancing if you want to. It's all about meeting with girls. Man, allow your girl to do all those activities, right? Create that space for her. Take children away and say, you know what, go see your mom, go see your sisters, your girlfriends. But also, this is very important. You will see that sometimes your woman, as I mentioned earlier, will be more decisive, will be more overworking, she'll be more arguing and all the rest of it. So when you see her being all like that, just come closer to her. Give her a big hug. Hold that hug for at least, let's say, 6 seconds. Let her drop her guards. Let her drop her insecurities and let her trust you. And when she starts speaking, you just zip it up. You just allow her to talk. You're not Mr. Fixer anymore. You're not in your masculine mode anymore. You're not the one who is DIY, man, let me go fix it. No. You just listen. and she will talk and she will tell you how she feels, and she will say how unfair life is, and she will say how much work she has, and you just zip it up and you say, I understand. Oh, darling, yeah. Just like girls do, right? You don't become a girl here. You're not a coach here. You are here just a therapist who is just listening, and you allow your woman to share her insecurities, the way how she feels, the way how she doesn't feel loved anymore, the way that she doesn't feel so supported anymore. You just listen to her and you allow her to speak up. So what happens when you allow your woman to speak up, when you allow your woman to reveal the true herself, if you give her a lot more time, she will tell you even more, and then even more. And deep inside, you will certainly feel the need to reassure her and to tell her how wrong she is, that you love her, but that's not the time yet. That's not the time yet. She needs more. Because the minute she will tell you a phrase such as, that feels so good. Thank you for listening. I feel so much better now. This is the moment when you will know that now she had enough. That now she had enough of dropping into her vulnerable state. Because all of us, all women, we are girls and girls inside. We just had to become more masculine. We had to become more independent because of we're raising children and we go to job and we have to make decisions. But inside of every strong woman, there is a very little a vulnerable girl. So when you allow that vulnerable girl to open up and shine and share with you, her man, how she feels, that's exactly when you connect even deeper. And here's a trick. What you can do if you want to connect with your woman even more, all you have to do is just to ask her, and how else do you feel? Do you want to tell me more? Right? And what happens, women, you will feel a lot more closer to men. But let's remember that as much as you want to share with your man, woman, it's not the time to ask your man, how do you feel? Because man will open up at his own time. And after you were vulnerable enough, after you shared so much about yourself and how you feel, he will naturally want to share and open up with you as well. That will be slightly different conversation because men, they're not as talkative as us. But this way you can rebuild that chemistry, right? By opening up, by women being more vulnerable, right? By being heard, by being listened to without interruptions, are part of, yeah. Oh yeah, I hear you. Oh yeah, I know what it feels like. Even if you don't, yeah, I know how it feels like. That's interesting. Tell me more. This way, you man, you can help her to rebuild her femininity, to allow her to be more vulnerable. And I'll give you here a great example. Client of mine, this is a lesbian couple. So what happened between them, and I'm not going to share names because I protect the confidentiality of theirs. But what happened, more masculine partner was always very attentive because I worked with her for a while already, so I knew her personality. She got together with her partner who was feminine type of partner, right? And they got together and she came back to me one day and she said, oh my God, this is the most amazing relationships ever. I have never been in so perfect relationships ever in my life. You know what happened next? They started spending too much time together, right? Too much time together. And my masculine client, that partner who's having more masculine energy, withdrawn and start paying less attention to that partner who was more feminine. So eventually, now feminine partner wants to work with me because she's like, okay, I need to speak to Olga. What's going on? We start speaking with her and I start coaching her. And she revealed to me her part of the story, that all of a sudden her partner changed. All of a sudden, there are not that many compliments. All of a sudden, not that much attention. And I simply had to explain to her the reason why there's not that much attention, because you two spend too much time together. Allow your partner to pull away and rebuild her masculinity. Even though it's a gay couple, I mean, lesbian, but still like they go into gay department, they still have to rebuild their masculinity, right? She had to rebuild her masculinity within herself. And what happened, the minute more feminine partner allowed that to happen by spending time with girlfriends, but doing whatever she wants and going for her walks and also going to the gym because she wanted to lose some weight, looking after herself. Her masculine partner was like, oh, now I had all this space to myself. So now that means I can actually give more. And that's exactly how we can achieve to receive more from our partners, by allowing them to rebuild their masculinity, by allowing them to rebuild their femininity, and then these two energies meet and they create the most amazing chemistry, the most amazing chemistry you have never seen before. So let's pay attention to what we do right now back at our families. Okay, back to the topic, why depolarization is more contagious than COVID-19, because we are spending time together at homes right now. Okay, some countries are out of lockdown, some countries went out and now they're back into lockdown. But even if we are over this pandemic situation, let's remember that going forward, you will have to still learn how to depolarize each other. So whether you are still in a lockdown or you're already out, it doesn't really matter. Please remember, as a feminine partner in your relationships, give your masculine partner that space. If they don't want to take that space, in that case, create that for themselves. You can go meet with your girlfriends. You can go for your classes and leave them alone. Even if it is alone in the house, just in another room. You know, I heard stuff like this. Every time I go out of my bedroom, my woman just follows me. Every time I go to my office, she just comes after me. No, just leave them alone. Allow them to rebuild their masculinity. And men, allow your woman to rebuild her femininity by allowing her to speak out, to share stuff with you, to be more vulnerable, right? And also, of course, by reassuring her when she needs that reassurance that you really love her and she's the one and only. Because without having healthy relationships back at our homes, how can we go and win? How can we go and win those business deals? How can we build successful careers if in the morning we leave the household, we slam the door, we are angry, we drive angry to the workplace, we sit down angry, we make angry phone calls, we send angry emails, we talk angry, and then it's time to go home and you don't want to go home. Right? So let's remember that here it's really, really, really important. Right now, as we are in this situation, the entire world has changed. Let's pay attention to depolarization in our relationships. Let's not allow outside circumstances to force us to be that close to each other all the time that we cannot be ourselves, feminine and masculine. Let's give each other space and let's make sure we help each other to recreate, to reignite that super exciting, super spicy energy in our relationships. And I must say, I'll give you another example from my successful relationships at this moment, which I'm so blessed to have. But that all is a result of me understanding how the energies work. So and I'll give a recent example. When recently we were speaking with my partner who doesn't live in the UK, we live obviously in a distance, and we were having a discussion and he said, honey, did I upset you with something or anything happened? And I said, no, why? He said, well, because lately we're not speaking that much. I said, yeah. And how do you feel? He says, oh, well, I've done so many things. I went to the gym and I've done this and I've done that and so many activities and I finished the business plan because he's another business now and so many things. And I was like, how interesting. And he was like, why would you say that? I said, because I noticed that our energy changed a little bit. And I recognize that you need your own masculine time. You need your own space. He was blown away by this. He said, oh, that's true, because I feel a lot more like, man, I'm ready, give it to me. I'm ready to step up. I'm ready to change things. And I said, exactly. That's exactly how it works. And what was interesting, he gave me an example from his previous experiences with his ex-wife. What happened before, he said every time he would leave the house, his woman will be straight away on the phone calling him. Why did he leave? Maybe he can come back. Maybe they can have a conversation. And what time he gonna be back? And she was controlling him. So here, the reason why I brought this particular example, because I want you to remember that sometimes your man or you as a man will be subconsciously afraid to take your own time because you were trained in your previous experiences with other women that every time you do it, it is not safe to come back because she will be angrier, she will not approve you, she will be pushy, she will be pushing you away, maybe in terms of intimacy, maybe emotionally, maybe she will go into blame zone. But it doesn't mean that every woman is that way. So even though you had this experience before, it is important for you to talk to your woman and explain to her, look, what happened before, every time I would walk away to have my own time, this is how she would react. Could you please understand me? I need my own time. Don't allow your previous experiences to really affect you. And you, woman, if you before could never open up, that was my case. I was never feeling secure to be vulnerable. I was never feeling secure to tell my man, I'm afraid to do this project, or I'm afraid to step up out of my comfort zone, because I thought I should be always strong. But that's the thing. When you leave all those previous experiences in your past life and you bring into your new experiences only the best things, only the best lessons, and you two talk to each other and you say to each other that I need my own time for a man to rebuild myself. And whilst I do that, darling, could you please go meet your girlfriends? But no, I'm coming back. And I'm going to come back with more love and more affection and more admiration because I will rebuild myself. And you as a girl, as a woman, as a lady, as my feminine partner, you understand it and you say back things like, darling, have a great time. I love you and I'm looking forward to have you back, right? Or I'm looking forward to have more time together. So this is how we can rebuild that polarity in our relationships by understanding what each of us needs and not allowing past experiences affect our current relationships. Once more than ever, and I'm saying this out of 11 years of experience, more than ever, I was receiving requests right now from people who are suffering in their relationships. And that's the reason why today I decided to give away one coaching session on how to reignite relationships, how to bring that spiciness and that sexiness and that amazing feeling of when you two are just co-creating amazing energy, amazing future, not only for you two, but also for your children and grandchildren. That's why I want to give away one session to the lucky winner, and also a wheel of relationships where we can sit down and we can see where your relationship is at the minute, and we can rebuild it, we can reshape it. Because remember, if your relationships is not making you happy, unfortunately your productivity, your health, your spirituality, your social life and everything else will be also affected. So let's not allow depolarization to really ruin our relationships. Let's not allow depolarization to be more contagious than COVID-19. Let's allow each other to rebuild that masculinity and rebuild that femininity so you two can have absolutely amazing and wonderful relationships, because relationships is the beginning of your success. It is not the end. It is the beginning. It is a lot scarier to become or be with somebody in relationships when you already are successful. I've worked with people like that. What happens, then they become too afraid to lose everything, all that wealth, all that fame, all that reputation, because of that partner. Do you really want to be in that situation? No. So don't you neglect your relationships. Your relationships is that support system which will take you through any hardships if only you learn how to bring that healthy polarity in your relationships. So don't you wait for any more longer. Even today, if you're not that lucky winner who's winning this one free coaching session, what you can do at home is to have an honest and open conversation with your partner. And if you're a masculine partner, tell your partner that, look, I need my own time. I want to rebuild myself. I want to feel more masculine, more stronger, more decisive, more like, I want to have oomph back in me, right? And if you're a feminine partner, open up with your partner. Share with your partner that you want to be more loving and more caring and to bring more charisma into relationships. And all he has to do, please, darling, just listen. I want to share with you how I feel, and please don't say anything. Just zip it up, right? And just listen to me. Well, I hope it helps, because I know personally how painful it is when you're not supported by your partner. But your partner will not support you if they don't feel supported. So I hope that will help you. If you have any questions, you're more than welcome to definitely ask me now, or you also can reach out to me. And I'm sure we're going to be sharing details of how people can reach out to me. But as I said, more than ever, people now are suffering from depolarization in their relationships. So don't you allow that to happen in your relationships. Thank you.
Wow, thank you so much, Olga, for that wonderful presentation. It was amazing. I, like so many other people, we can listen to you for hours here, and everybody seems to have the same. And we do have a question. Jack?
Well, hi, Olga. That was just a fantastic. I think we had the morning of self-preservation of individual to self-preservation of couples. And having said that, that's what I guess the event was all about, just about saving people from themselves, from ugly relationship to how to build the right relationship. And again, it is so precious, because it's only when you lost that you find out how precious you had it. And when you understand all this stuff that you're talking about, the polarization, it's incredible stuff. I said, wow, I'm taking note myself.
That's good. That's wonderful.
So we all learned so much today. There's a question for you, Olga. Question is, I've always been criticized for taking vacations alone or with my girls, but when I am back, we're all over each other. Do you agree, Olga?
Of course, because you missed each other. Of course, because your pheromones now are missing your man. And of course, he'll be criticizing you if he thinks this is wrong. Let's remember, right? Two people are coming from two different families. They're coming from two different cities, two different countries. two different continents right now and during these lives, right? We are connecting with each other through the technology. So you are coming together, having two completely different perceptions of the world. And of course, if he seen his mom going away by herself and his dad was criticizing her, or maybe if his ex-girlfriend cheated on him while she was away, he will be afraid. Of course, because he has insecurities. But this is only natural that when you come back, now you have even more chemistry because you missed each other. And that's why the hardest relationships are for those who work together in the same business or a job and they are in relationships, right? Because then they wake up together, have breakfast together, drive to work together, they work together, they drive back home together, they talk at the dinner table together about their business or their job, and they go to sleep together. There is no opportunity to miss each other. And that's why those couples who run family businesses, I tell them even more, run away from each other. Create that space to spend time by yourself. Go see your friends, go travel alone. Do whatever it takes, but create that chemistry of missing each other, of wanting to talk to each other. So what you, darling, you have done there, it's amazing. Still go out with your friends, still go travel with your friends, and reassure your man that here I am with my girls and I love you, right? And the minute you come back and you're a lot happier, over the time he will get trained that it's all right for you to go away and come back a lot happier. And the reason why I say trained, because we all have trained behavior. We either have trained insecurities or we have trained beliefs that everything is okay. And we have trained trust, right? So everything is trainable. And here what you can do, go away next time and then maybe stay in touch with him and tell him how much you miss him, bring him back little souvenir. I'm sure you do already, but yes, this is normal and it is healthy for a couple to separate for some time, come back together after they missed each other and they want to see each other now. So yes, kudos to you. Well done.
Thank you. Another question is about vulnerability. And the question is, well, vulnerability is a power, but seldom used. How to create a mindset to perceive the same, Olga?
Wonderful. So let's remember that vulnerability is something what all children have, right? And then it's get trained, again, going back to training, not to be vulnerable, right? Vulnerability is not weakness, right? Vulnerability is a strength because you open up with people, you open up with your partner, and you can say things like this, darling, I want to share something with you, but could you please just listen? I'll really appreciate if you just listen. All I want you to do now, just listen, right? And then you open up and you really share how you feel. Or if it is something that his behavior upset you, you can say things like, darling, it's okay. It's not about you, but let me share with you how I felt. Okay, how it made me feel. So what you do when you share with your man or when you share with people about how you really feel, who you really are deep inside of you, that's not weakness. You become a lot stronger because only strong people can be vulnerable, right? Now, envision somebody in your head right now, somebody like inspirational speaker whom you heard on the stage, right? And they shared a really vulnerable story of theirs. Maybe they were raped, maybe their mother left them, maybe they went bankrupt, maybe they went through some sort of hardships, or all together, right? Because some people, they really experienced all together, right? So think about them when they go into that vulnerable stage, right? Vulnerable state of theirs. Do you really judge them? You don't. All you do, you feel for them and they empower you. And that's why vulnerability is a strength. Because when you become vulnerable, you share with people, I don't know how, I don't feel secure, I need some help. And it's not about being that person, girl or guy, who is incapable, right? It is being honest and open about your feelings. And I must say, for me, that was a big challenge. Since I was growing up as a little girl, I was the eldest and I had to look after my brother and sisters and I had to raise them. My youngest sister, she called me mom because we spent that much time together because I was looking after all of them. So I had to be a strong girl. So for me, vulnerability, it was such a powerful journey. I realized I was not able to share with my man how I felt. I wasn't able to open up with my man to tell him that I'm not sure if I can accomplish that, right? Men always see me as very powerful and the one who is, making things happen, but they never knew that I was that vulnerable inside. And as a result, I was never connected with my man. And that's not only me, the same I saw with my clients, right? So the minute I start to rebuild myself and the minute I started to open up, and that is challenging. I'm not saying it's easy, it's not. But the minute you start practicing and the minute you tell to your man, can I just share something with you? It's not about you. Please don't judge me. I just want to share how I feel. And you share how you feel and they will welcome that. You know what also it will do? It will create chemistry because here man will see you opening up. It's almost like you being naked emotional in front of your man. And he will want to take care of you. He will want to give you all. He will want to really just be the provider for you because you opened up. And that's why vulnerability is a strength. It is building you, but also it builds your man. So I hope that answers the question.
Certainly does. Thank you so much, Olga. I just want you to know that you are affecting, all of you as speakers today are affecting the lives of hundreds of people who are going to watch this, listen to your words of wisdom, listen to the experience you're offering. Potentially thousands and thousands of people will be learning from what you are offering. So thank you so much for giving your time. You are so generous in being here on this platform. Olga, thank you so much for that wonderful, wonderful message. Will you come on back here and tell us one more time the prize that you have so generously gifted to a lucky winner?
Of course, yes. The prize is one session of couple coaching where we will reignite your relationships because I will be giving you away a relationship wheel. If you have come across the wheel of life, this is a relationship wheel which I developed. This is my baby, which I developed. Will be able to see where your relationship is at right this moment. And we will make steps towards improving your relationships at every possible level. This is your attention. This is your time together. This is your house chores. This is your couple goals. This is your individual goals. This is your fitness. We're going to look at so many aspects of your relationships and we will make that step towards your best relationships of your life.
That sounds like the recipe for a happy life and a happy couple.
It is.
Well, thank you very much, Olga. That was wonderful what you've done. And we're so thankful that you were part of this summit today. And again, thank you very much for your time, and it's very much appreciated. And I'm sure a lot of people will learn a whole lot of stuff today. And thanks to you.
Thank you. It was my pleasure and my honor. So I'm really grateful for this opportunity to help people today. Thank you.
Cool. You're welcome. You're welcome. And yes.
I think, you know what, that coaching session for couples, that's a really, really great gift.
Absolutely.
I know. So I mean, I don't know who can't use a gift like that, to be honest. And I heard from someone before, and correct me if I'm wrong, but that the most successful people in business must have successful relationships at home. And Olga's giving me thumbs up. So can I bring you back on here and talk on that a little bit more, Olga, since you're the expert?
Of course, absolutely, yes. I must say, behind every successful man, there is a successful woman. Behind every successful woman, there is a successful man. And behind every successful, one of the partners is always a successful partner next to them. It's not a competition. It is about co-creation. It is about you two getting together, co-creating from a healthy mindset. That's why I do mindset coaching, because I do believe you have to be healthy in your mindset, knowing how to be true yourself, no limitations, no negative stories, nothing what will affect your future relationships, right? And then you step in your new wonderful relationships. Or once you heal yourself, you rebuilding together, you healing your relationships together. Because imagine living with somebody for the rest of their life whom you, as soon as you wake up, you look at them and you think, oh, God's sake, right? That's not life. We speak about fulfillment at work. We speak about fulfillment at business. We speak about making millions, being retired and everything else. But nothing can be worse than you're retired and you have to spend all that time with a person whom you indeedly hate, right? That's the worst punishment, right? So what we want is to co-create. That's why it's important to not allow past affect our future. Successful people, they make their relationships successful first. Because if you are successful in the outside world, but you're not successful in your inner world, in your relationship world, people will sense it. They will feel it, they will sense it, and you will attract people at the same vibration. So very often you will recognize some people that constantly go through patterns of working with wrong people, going into wrong deals and just doing wrong steps. And you think, what's wrong with them? Such a wise person and doing all these steps so wrongly. But that's because they're not in touch with their own chemistry in their relationships, right? They are blocked from co-creation. And it doesn't mean they have to work together. It just means when he comes back home, when she comes back home, it is healthy. It is wonderful atmosphere to be at, so he or she can relax and come back to create more. And that's why it's co-creation. You can co-create without being involved completely. But with your energy, with the way how your relationship is, you reshape your future. And think about it. If you are in a healthy relationships, with healthy chemistry, without depolarization, but healthy polarity, your children will learn from you. Your grandchildren will learn from you. And this way, you can make a difference in order to create healthy generations, just because you worked on your own relationships. And this is so powerful. So I would say 100% start your success in your family, and then you will create a lot more together.
Oh my gosh, that was so good. So good. Thank you. And what kind of an effect, what kind of an example is that to our kids?
Yes.
Right?
100%. 100%. I must tell you that I have my own personal story, which, it wasn't that great beginning of me stepping onto this relationship journey at all. When with my husband, we outgrew each other. We outgrew each other. Back then, I didn't know all about this. Back then, I didn't know anything about chemistry, masculinity, femininity. I wish I would know, because he was the most amazing father and husband in the world, right? But what happened, we outgrew each other, right? Because I wasn't in touch with my femininity and he wasn't in touch with his masculinity. We outgrew each other. We simply outgrew each other, and now we raise our child separately, right? Of course, okay, we moved on in life and we are in really good civil relationships, but how many couples end up in civil relationships? They don't. And that's why the world right now is going down south, I would say, right? Because people don't know how to stay civil in their post-divorce relationship with their ex-partner. Kids see that, and then children go into the next relationships and they unfortunately, don't build them as being happy, right? They have already their insecurities, they have already their stories, they already have their perceptions and expectations. And the other partner is like, hello, I don't have these expectations. I don't have these perceptions. Why do you ask this from me? And he says, well, my mama used to do that. And you say, well, but I'm not your mama. And that's it. Now you're back into argument, right? And I've seen this all over again, again, and again. And of course, there are lots of other tools, which is 5 love languages. I must say, this is a Bible to all relationships. Another Bible to all relationships, Men Are From Mars, Women Are From Venus, written by John Gray. I love John Gray. He came to my show 3 times. Remarkable man. He made a transformation in the relationship world. We need to know this stuff. We really have to learn. Nobody was born with a ready manual. This is how you build relationships. Nobody was born with ready manual. This is how you raise children. Nobody was born with, this is the manual how to do your finances. We are learning. And unfortunately, people put different priorities in different places. They think, I'll make $1 million first, then I'm going to build relationships. Hold on. The minute you build your first $1 million, by now you're already afraid to share this $1 million with those who are gold diggers, those who are just machos, who just want your money and everything else, right? You don't want that. So it is a lot safer to start building your success in your relationships, to show your children how to be in a healthy relationship so they can teach their children. And then your friends, they're like, oh, they have good relationships. Why are they in good relationships? Let's learn from them. And then you just like, positive virus start spreading positive relationships around you.
I got a question for you. Is on your bio, you said that you were voted to be president of the Professional Speaking Association, and I believe, congratulations is in effect, I believe you are the president of the Yorkshire Region Speaking Association, right?
That's right. This will be for next year. Yes.
Congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Amazing. The beautiful Olga Gedana, thank you so much for sharing your knowledge with us so generously. It was so wonderful to have you on here. I am completely flabbergasted by all your knowledge, and I know that one lucky winner will get to have a chance to work with you and just change their lives completely. Thank you so much for impacting our relationships. Thank you so much for strengthening our families. The world needs it very much. So thank you, Olga.
Thank you very much. My pleasure.
And so this has been so far so good, Jack. You delivered on your promise.
Absolutely. I don't go second grade. I'm so thankful and with a gratitude of everybody that shared today's stage, that I can't thank them enough, because it's, again, as Olga said, is you can't do things alone. You have to share with people. You have to look forward into just not being by yourself. It's not just about you, it's about people. And we are in the people business. We're surrounded by people. If we do business with people. Employees are people. So why not treat people like we want people to treat ourselves, like treat us? So there's a saying that says, like, it's when problems are high, it's when we are needed the most to change the world. Because I think we have a moral obligation to help others when the world is falling apart. Someone has to take reign. And I believe that we have that today right on this platform. So I'm so grateful to have you all on the Global Pandemic Summit. Well, thank you again, Olga. And I believe, Dela, we're gonna move to the next speaker.
Well,
so I'll let you introduce them.
Thank you, Jack. Well, it's been so wonderful, and I think a lot of people have taken a lot of nuggets today. So I want to encourage you to please have a look-see. Okay, see what you learned so far. We've had two wonderful speakers. We've had Evie Shaw on the power of gratitude, and we've had Olga. We heard from her on depolarization and the difference between masculine and feminine energy. Think about what you've learned so far, and maybe go ahead in the comment section and drop us a line, just in a couple of words. Let us know what you've learned. What have you become aware of? There's been a lot of messages. There's been a lot of comments. A lot of people have said that they've already, they already knew the stuff, but it's like becoming more aware. And so that's what I love on a summit like this, where you sit and you listen from people. It really just brings awareness back to what we intrinsically know, but may have forgotten, or we're just too busy to think about these things. So think about it, and drop a line, send our speakers some love, let them know that you've been listening, that you've taken some fabulous nuggets from them. And I also want you to take a break, okay? If you're just sitting there, maybe just stand up, maybe take a deep breath. Maybe just roll up your shoulders up high, bring them up to your ears, kind of squeeze, and then breathe out and let go. Just roll up your shoulders back. Oh, you didn't think you were going to get this, did you?
So I'm back into fitness now.
I want you to be tip-top shape for our next speaker. So, I mean, so far, so good. Yes, I hope everybody's having fun. Jack, are you having fun?
Oh, I'm certainly having fun. This is, for me, it is, everything is new to me. So again, I just can't say enough about all of you guys that making me look good. And it's because of you that I look good. So thanks.
You've done a great job putting this summit together, Jacques Vincent. So thank you so much. So everybody, get ready for our next speaker. It is absolutely my pleasure to introduce this next speaker. I'm going to wrap my sheet because I don't want to do any misjustice. This person has affected my life in such a grand way. So I'm very excited to introduce him. It is absolutely my pleasure to introduce you to our next guest speaker, Robert J. Moore. Robert J. Moore is a therapist. He is a 5 times internationally awarded bestseller, speaker, and business coach, and a publisher, my publisher. He is a Guinness World Record holder. Robert has impacted the lives of over 160,000 people through an emotional tale that has provided insights on how to determine one's worth and create a life worthy of joy and success. Magnetic Entrepreneur, Inc. is also a publishing company that has published books all over the world. He is the main publisher for WONM, with 25 of the top doctors in the world. WONM is World Organization of Natural Medicine. They are having a health conference on the 17th of October through the 25th. And it is called Turning Point 2020. And all the speakers are writing in a book that Robert J. Moore is going to publish. Amazing opportunity. Robert has influenced the lives of many through the work associated with his international award-winning best-selling books, The Better Way Formula, Principles of Success, and Magnetic Entrepreneur. Robert has even co-authored with Jim Rohn's 18-year business partner, Kyle Wilson, and World Series pitcher Todd Stoudemire. Robert has hosted many events with his brand, Magnetic Entrepreneur Author Awards, Magnetic Entrepreneur Guinness World Record attempt, and High-End Mastermind, allow his students to reach the levels they could only dream of. So many people became World Guinness record holders because they associated with Robert J. Moore in this amazing event. Robert has been interviewed by magazines from around the world, national TV programs, radio shows, and also has been invited to speak on world-class stages with the likes of Jack Canfield, Les Brown, Bob Proctor, Eric Thomas, Douglas Vermeeren, and Raymond Aaron. Robert has also become 100 top professional in Canada, but not so long ago, Robert was totally destitute. Robert J. Moore has studied 52 of the top achievers in the world in the past decade to be able to build this amazing program. He states that this is by far one of the greatest work he's ever done, and he's honored to share it with you. Please help me welcome to the summit, Robert J. Moore, the coach to so many, publisher to so many, and a friend.
That was really a nice, warm welcome, you know. And Jacques, I'm going to tell you, and Dela, you guys are doing an amazing job here. You took the advice that were given to you from myself and Lori, and you're putting it to action, which I love. You're utilizing those skills and making them the best you can. And it's really showing today. I like this. I was looking on the back end. There's over 440 strong watching right now on different platforms. So, I mean, you can't go wrong, buddy.
No.
You were thinking that you want, oh, my goal's 100. You're good one, buddy. By the end of the day, there'll probably be more. You know,
Well, it's because of guys like you, that good coaching, that's, you can't help but just to rise up. And that's what today's event is about, to help people rise up from their situation while you help me out to rise up in the ranks. And I, again, appreciate it and very grateful for it.
well, you're showing your appreciation by hosting this and asking me to speak. You know, so I mean, it's an honor to be here and pleasure to be here. And I think this is the greatest thing going today. I wouldn't want to be anywhere else. You know,
Me neither.
you know, I've seen you grow. I've seen Dela grow, and many of my other students here. When you first started, it was like you got frustrated because you didn't know how to put yourself on camera. It was like, what do I do? How do I do this? And wait, I gotta call my daughter. I gotta call my wife. And it's like, here you are today. You did it on your own,
Yeah.
right? I wouldn't trust you to do the Zoom part of it. That's maybe going too far, but you will learn that eventually. I mean, because you're looking at doing podcasting yourself. And Dela, I believe, is going to be helping you with that, because Dela actually, not just Dela's voice, she actually runs Magnetic Entrepreneur Podcasting too for me. So she works for me and gets coaching by me at the same time. You know, I don't even know if I can do that. You know, I'll just go. So, but needless to say, like I was saying, it's an honor to be here, and I'm watching so many people grow. I mean, it's amazing. It's amazing the reflection on Earth to see that you guys are doing out there too. I'm watching everybody, like all the stuff. I mean, everybody here basically. I look at their Facebook. It's not creeping. It's just making sure you guys are on the right track, right? Because if you're not on the right track, you know me, I'm pretty straightforward, and I'll say it as it is, because I care more about your business than I do your emotions, right? And your emotions we could deal with anytime. So it's your business that needs to be on the right track in order to make it. And as we go through my story, I'm going to tell you how my emotions were affected by some high-end people that it almost cost me where I'm at today, because of the fact that I allowed other people to how would you, the best way to phrase it is like Les Brown would say it. Don't let other people's opinions become your reality. right? When you let someone else's business become your reality and their opinions of you, you're not going to go nowhere. You know, I'm going to tell you a story of where I came from. And this might be very, like, a lot of people may not know this story. I don't really talk about it too often, but I do put it out there because I want people to know the reality of life. You know, like, I wasn't always at the top of my game, and I still got room to grow. I don't get conceited. I don't get, up there in that trip and say, oh yeah, I'm better than you. Hell with that. I love working with people below me because I want to bring them to my level. I want them at my level because we're equal. There's no difference between us. I just have more knowledge in that field. That's it. They just need to be more educated to become up to that level. I've seen people pass me. That's what I want. I want the people to pass me. I'm comfortable at my level where I'm at and bringing people to my level and then bringing them to the next level with someone else. I'll tell you why. As the story goes on, you'll understand why. So when we were brought up, I was 12 years old. My dad asked my brothers and myself to be in the room. And he said, I want you guys to sit down and listen to what we have to say. I said, not a problem, right? I was only 12 years old at the time. And next thing you know, my dad looks at me and he says, I want you to take a look at mom here. And I said, okay. I was confused. Well, what happened was he said, this is not your biological mother. It's your stepmother. It's a woman I actually married that never gave birth to you, but she's raising you. I was really taken back by that. That really hurt me. So then a day later, when I took off, I went to my room and I didn't talk to nobody because that really took me back. It hurt, right? And she came up and she said, you have a choice. You can always call me Diane or Mom. To this day, I still call her Mom, and she's deceased now. I was there for her 100% when she was dying. I was there for my dad when he was dying, but we'll get to that point of the gratitude later. The thing is, I became an alcoholic drug addict because I couldn't face my emotions. I was deeply embedded in my own trench of a joy that I thought I was having. I looked elsewhere to get the good feelings. So at home, I was always getting in trouble. All right. So here's the thing. I had two older brothers, right? One was my stepbrother, Diane's, my stepmom's biological son. And my other brother was my biological brother, 14 months apart. He always did something. The same with Jason, the older one. He did something too that would always put the blame on me. So I had no TV in my room. I had no radio in my room. I just had to sit with my homework, a pen and paper. That's it. They even put a stick in the window on the outside so I couldn't go out the window because I had a tendency of going out the window enjoying myself. Well, they stopped that too. So it felt like I was being always punished. If I ate too fast while I was sitting there at the table, I'd have a fork stabbed in my hand. If I was too slow outside chopping wood, they'd throw an axe at me. All right. And it wasn't my dad, it was my stepmom. She had a bad temper. I look at her like a crazy redhead, I used to call her. But I think it's because she wasn't happy with herself. And I realized that because while I was growing up, when I wasn't happy with myself, I took my anger and everything else on other people. So I'd go out and get into fights just to win a fight or lose a fight, just to get rid of that anger. So that became hanging out with some different kind of people. These people that I'm talking about were high-end bikers. And when I connected with them, they made me feel I was important. Oh, Robert, you do this, and we'll get you this. Anything you need, we got for you. We'll protect you. We'll make sure you're safe. Give you drugs, women, money, you name it. We got it for you. But when you go to jail, we're not going to be there for you. So I ended up doing 16 years in and out of jail because I was trying to impress them and get the rewards that weren't that good in the first place. Those rewards kept me down, right? And I didn't see it. So I go out and get into a fight. I go out and steal from people. I go out and do all the wrong things to impress these people that didn't care what happened to me. So finally, I decided I wanted out. This was 17 years ago. Now, I'll tell you something. I was drinking and drugging from the age 13 on. I was drinking old OV, the stubby OVs, right? That stuff tastes like bloody sandpaper, you know? And I was drinking Labatt 50, the stubbies. And I was guzzling them down like no tomorrow. I was drinking 6-1 of my dad's drinks because I didn't like the way it felt. So when I had that belch, it made me feel invincible. Now I could be somebody. It gave me an attitude, gave me a personality, it felt like. It gave me something to live for. I could face things. But if you put me outside in the public, I had a hard time understanding it without the booze. So when I got to the point where I didn't want to live that way no more, my best friend of 5 years, I told him, I said, that's it. One night of drinking and drugging, we did $5,000 overnight we spent. I said, I can't do this no more. And I said, this is not for me no more. What did I do? I got up to walk away and he stabbed me with a 12-inch blade. I stuck my thumb directly right inside that hole, ran down the street so they wouldn't know the place where I got stabbed, and then took my thumb out and bled at least 6 feet. It was squirting out like that. Finally, a pizza car driver actually took me to the hospital. When I got to the hospital, I was more worried about the money in my shoe and the cigarettes in my pocket. And I wasn't worried about my life at the time because I was just in shock. So when I come out of that, I guess I was a bit weirded out because supposedly I was giving them names, calling them on and off. I was on so many different drugs, mixed up with the drugs that are already in my system. So they put me to sleep for like 24 hours. And finally I come through. I didn't know where I was. I didn't know what happened. But the word on the street was they were coming to get me again because they wanted to kill me because I knew too much information. Well, it was weird because the next time I actually seen anybody to do with that whole scene is when I actually became clean and sober. That never scared me enough to get me clean and sober, believe it or not. You know what scared me was the fact that I was too alone. When I was alone and nobody wanted to be around me, that's when something happened to me. I can't explain how or what had happened. It was epiphany of some sort. I had a case of beer underneath me. I couldn't afford cigarettes. I'm rolling butts from the streets, right? And I maybe had about $3 in my pocket for a sandwich later. Now, I used to tell people I'm not going to waste my money on a sandwich because I don't want to be sober. No sense absorbing that up. I like being drunk at the time because I didn't like my life. I tried many times killing myself. But when this guy, it was 44 staples right in my gut all the way down. I had an epiphany that day, and I decided to go into the detox. I phoned the detox. They get the help I needed. They said they have a bed for me. It was just a coincidence how they had a bed. They're always full any other time, but this time they had a bed. So it was obviously God's way of doing things, right? So now the thing is, when you're sitting there looking at a situation like that, and you're sitting there scared because you're not drinking, you're uncomfortable with your feelings and how things are going. The problem is that you don't know where to turn, so you don't know who to trust. Your best friend stabbed you at 5 years. So who do you really trust in a predicament like that? So I put myself, I had to go to the doctors first. I had to go to the hospital, the emergency, because they said I would DT too much and I was coming off too much drugs and alcohol at the time. But one of the things I'll never forget is, and people think, well, you're hallucinating or something. Anything, I don't know what to call it because it just happened. I don't know how to explain it. I was talking to myself out loud like I am right now, but actually you guys are listening, thank God, because otherwise I'd be doing the same thing as before, right? And then I guess this little girl heard me and she said, Mommy, this guy needs help. And I never clued in. It took me about 3 minutes. And it's like, whoa, wait a minute. She said that, I need help. I went back to look for the little girl to thank her. I asked the lady, I said, ma'am, where's this little girl? Where's your little girl there? I want to thank her. She said, I don't have a little girl. I wasn't with a little girl. So it was quite confusing. It was quite confusing to me. And I said, okay, maybe I should just get inside the hospital, get the help I needed because there's something obviously going on here I don't like. I went in the hospital. As soon as I went in there, they said, we've been waiting all day for you. I didn't even have to say my name. They already knew who I was. So they got me in there. They seen the doctor. They gave me Valium. They sent me off to detox. I slept till next morning. When I got up the next morning and I thought about that little girl, I don't know who she was. It's got to be some kind of an angel of some sort. But what happened to my life changed. You know, I kept visualizing that little girl sitting there saying that and how I needed the help. Then I visualized the fact that when I was sitting there drinking that case of beer and rolling the cigarettes, I just got up and left it there. And whoever grabbed it later because I couldn't live the way I was living. I told the guy at the front desk I wanted to get the help I needed to be sober and clean. He says, "You've already been here 17 times or so. What's this time any different from last time?" I said, "I can't explain. I don't know how to explain. I can't identify my emotions." And he says, "That's the honest thing that you first time in your life have ever said, the honest thing." Right? So what happened was they gave me a list of all the detox places around Ontario. Pick one you want to go to and make sure you have enough money to get there or else we'll help you get there somehow. So I knew my aunt was living in Reasa at the time, Reasa in Canada here. And I said, well, maybe I'll go up there and say hi to her for the first night and continue going from there and do my time and get the help I needed. It was also a halfway house for federal prisoners. So I decided, well, I would fit right in because I've done so much time in my life. I decided, okay, well, I'll phone them up. Now, everybody else said it's a 30 to 90 day wait, no matter what. And the 30 days was not guaranteed. It's who had the most priority first, right? So, I mean, there's so many of them I missed out on because of that. I phoned them up on Arroyo. They said, listen, can you be here Tuesday? I said, Tuesday? I was in shock. I said, well, what do you mean Tuesday? I was hoping for 90 days, you know. I was too scared to face this stuff. So I actually got there Tuesday. I called my dad down. He came down, gave me some money, and got me on the bus up there. Well, I spent one night out at my aunt's house before going in there. And then finally I went in there, and they said, okay, I hope you brought your bags because you're staying. And I said, what if I don't feel comfortable and want to leave? They said, well, you already signed a piece of paper at the detox that will form you, and now you're staying. So I kind of formed myself and I didn't know it. It was the best thing that ever happened. The best thing, because I was listening to my inner peace at that time. They only have a program of 3 months. I stayed there 4.5 months because they wanted to intervene with my anger. They wanted to intervene with the way I was looking at things. I had things all ass backwards. My emotions were identified by different thoughts. So they actually stripped all my emotions and walked me through each emotion while I was there to learn how to identify them in a positive way. Because I was looking at it all mixed up. They had to rewire me all along. Then I said to myself, well, that's not the life I need. I got 5-6 days in me. Let's go through this program. So when I did the program at 4.5 months, I was getting out in society. My shoes, honest to God, my shoes were duct taped because they were falling apart. They were flapping otherwise. I had nothing. I had no money, no nothing. There was a guy named, it's not the singer, it's a guy named Brian Adams. He was a social worker. And he took me on as a special afterwards. He says, I would like to see you once a week if you want. I'll help you out. I'll try and guide you the best. And I said, yeah, because I don't really know Arroyo. I'm a little nervous out here. I think people are staring at me. And that was all the inner thoughts, right? All the thoughts that I was thinking, because when you look at your thoughts, you have at least 5,000 to 10,000 negative thoughts per day going through your mind. It's about to you to filter them out on how to make them positive. I'll tell you why I know that is because he helped me get into school and get my grade 12. Now, I was in school at grade 12. I got people 15, 20 years junior to my age talking about the party. You don't know how bad I want to get into that war story and tell them I'm worse than them. I did worse and make it look like I was better than them. I didn't, though, because something told me just to shut my mouth and you're here for school and that's it. Well, that's what I did. And then they said, where do you want to go next? I said, well, I like to be an addiction counselor. I said, I've been an addiction counselor. I said, I love to do that. So I know a lot about this stuff. Little I knew that being a drug addict or an alcoholic has nothing to do with being a counselor. Boy, did I have to get in for a surprise there. The reason why I got into a surprise is because I had to learn a whole different aspect of thinking. So I started volunteering all over the place, and I started being more comfortable with the people that I was facing, more comfortable with the people that were in community. And people were really nice. I just realized you don't go out after 9:30 because it's different atmosphere, right? A lot of different people come out at nighttime that don't come out during the day. So I make sure I'm out during the day and not nighttime. So I would be doing my homework at night anyways, making sure I got it right. But it would take me a long time because I couldn't understand the stuff at first. So then I went through social service worker. You have to have a social service worker diploma in order to get into the addictions degree. So I went through that. And then I was sitting there talking to the lady that does disability. I said, listen, I'm not comprehending this. Something's wrong. And she goes, would you like to be tested? I said, yeah, but don't tell anybody I'm here though. I'm kind of embarrassed being here. And she goes, there's nothing to be embarrassed of. You don't understand. You don't understand. That's it. And I still felt like, I mean, people were watching me, talking about me. It was still that kind of thought, right? So here it is. She sent me to this doctor to actually get checked out, psychotherapist. And then the psychotherapist says, well, we actually have someone else that's even higher than us. Psychotherapist is just someone that takes care of your mood, your emotion, and your thoughts. But psychologist is actually the one that's going to be talking to you and dealing with you. But I have to see that you're fitting the needs first. So I said, no problem. So they had me come back. And it was like 15 hours I had to actually be there in 2 different days. So they started off at like the kindergarten level and asked me, can you identify this? I'm going to point it here. I'm going to show you and then walk away. Do you know to this day, I can still remember that one card and everything in that picture? It came to me that I was very visual. I learned visually, but auditory, I wasn't very good at. So they said my percentile at that time in college was a grade 3 level. That really bugged me because now how am I going to walk around people knowing that about me, like poor me. I went into like a poor me kind of thing. And I wouldn't tell anybody. I kind of distant myself from people. I started getting depressed. Finally, I said, well, how do I get in and do the addiction? So I went and registered myself and they accepted me. And you know what they told me? We know about your interest in addictions, but you're in for a surprise. I thought, okay, well, what are they going to do? They're going to bring someone in that I haven't met before, maybe someone in addictions or no, I was in for a surprise. All right. It's because they knew about my history. One of the actual teachers in there was an ex-cop that knew me. And he openly told them, this is what I'm about. They have to watch me. So I had no problem with that. I said, look, I'm here to do better. I actually passed social service worker. I passed the addictions degree. I went on. They said I'll never finish college or university. Then I got my master's in counseling psychology. Then I got my harm reduction, mental health crisis, nominated for all these awards. I got about 15, 20 different awards. I started becoming a citizen in society and respected. But the problem is I kept it in that community there. Okay. This is a huge problem that people don't know. You can't make money in your own town. You can't. You have to go outside your town to get recognized, even on a bigger globe, in order to be recognized. So when I learned for 10 years, I was up there. 10 years, literally 10 years, I was up there trying to make my life. I ended up getting all this education, honorary doctorate degree, you name it. I got all these different awards. They would write me up on the paper every week, doing something nice, helping people out. But I tried getting a pardon. The first time I got a phone call, it was really weird. I wrote my first book. It took me 2.5 years. It was the worst book I've ever read in my life. It was the worst one. I mean, I had a lot of F-bombs in it. I didn't know how to write a book. I said, well, you know what? I'm not going to pay these guppies to do a book. I'm going to do it on my own. I put F this, F that, you name it. I had it in there. I was talking about me punching people out, and I expressed my feelings when I was doing it. So it was more like a journal I should never have shown anybody, is what I was told. So when I did that, I'm going to tell you a little something. It was expressing myself. So one of the psychotherapists saw that and he said, well, we need to work a little bit here. I said, sure, why, what's wrong? And he explained to me what I was doing wrong with that book. Right. And I said, well, I didn't really realize it that way. I just wanted to get the stuff out and I had nobody to talk to because I was too embarrassed to talk to somebody. And he said, well, would you rather talk to me or would you rather talk to this lady here? You can see one of us whenever. I took her because she was pretty. I thought it was easier to talk to her because she was pretty, because now I'm trying to impress her. Well, she put me in my spot real quick. And oh boy, that was not fun. It's nothing like being told by a pretty woman that you got to sit down, shut up, and tell it as it is. And don't hide everything, because she knows you can read my body language, my physiology of the face, and all the tone of voice and everything. She goes, you're trying to make the moves on me. It's not going to work. And I thought, whoa, man, this is a trip and a half. I didn't like this feeling. So I asked to go back to the other guy. And she goes, you're stuck with me now, eh? You're not walking away. You need to face some of this stuff that you're going through. So I did that. I started facing it and things started coming out. And I felt like less of a man at first because I had tears in my eyes. I said, well, people got to know I'm crying in front of you. That's not right. And she goes, you're more of a man crying than you are hiding it. And I said, geez, never even thought of it that way. We became good friends. I said straight forward, I like to be in her shoes and work with people the same way. So I got my education. She helped me register. I became registered psychotherapist, 15 years worth, 12 years in addiction counseling. I didn't like the addiction counseling very much because I opened my own business. It was my first business I ever opened. It was failing quick because I had my heart on my sleeve and I cared too much for other people that were, down and out. Because I was a drug addict, alcoholic. I wanted to save the world. When I learned to stop putting my heart on my sleeve and start dealing with people's problems correctly, that's when my life changed. That's when it actually changed. It was like 6 years into it, clean and sober. And I was going to AA, NA, and all these different things, helping me out. And the problem is I wasn't taking it in. I was given the advice. I wasn't taking it in until she put me in my shoes. And then I started getting out there speaking at different schools. And this one lady came up to me. She was a chairperson of the Board of Education up in Arroyo. She said, Robert, I'd love for you to come speak at this one school. I said, sure. And she goes, well, I got in her car and I don't like BMWs. Sorry if you have one. I don't like them personally because hers was like a bucket of bolts. It was all falling apart and not taking care of it. And it was a rough ride. And she didn't like the way I was dressed. She goes, you dress like a bum. So she goes, do you mind if I buy you a shirt? And I said, sure. I don't mind that at all. I had no money or nothing. I still had the shoes with the duct tape on it. She said, we need to buy you a new pair of shoes too. I became her personal friend and started coaching her son and her daughter because they had a problem with drugs and alcohol. And that was my first experience actually working with someone on that level, actually being registered. And it was kind of interesting. So I've worked in numerous jobs, addictions counseling, but I noticed one thing, that I always got to make sure I don't put my heart in my sleeve that way. I could utilize my skills in a whole different way and approach them differently now. I'm over 15 years clean and sober today, right? I've managed to build from the garbage can. I remember the garbage can before I started eating out of a garbage can. The bites in a sandwich, you take the bites off, you just eat the rest. That was good for me, man. I was hungry. From the garbage can, I built the business that's behind me, Magnetic Entrepreneur, to 1.2 mil. Now, that's what the company's worth. Doesn't mean I'm worth that. That's what the company's worth. I've been offered 4 mil for the company. I said, no. Put another zero in the end, we'll talk about it. Right? Because this is my baby now. It's not that I would never give it up. I just enjoy working with the people. It's not about the money. When I see someone walk away and understand, do you know how ravishing and beautiful that is? I get many students on here today. They know what I mean, because when they understand that, they know that I'm there for them. I'm backing them up. Now, when Jack was doing this, he couldn't understand at first why I was doing this, and Dela didn't understand it either. I actually put Dela in as a co-host. She didn't even know at first. She goes, "Who did that? Who did that?" So I went to her. I did it because I wanted them both to work together. They were a perfect match to work together, both my students, and I wanted to back off to make sure they were doing their job. Because if I'm sitting there enabling him to do this, do that, he's not going to learn. Right? Yeah. But you know what, Dela? You come a long ways yourself. From someone that wanted to be an author to someone that's polishing off over 11 books with me. 13 books. 13 books. Okay. Well, I'm sorry. I got like 70 some odd books out there. I can't remember them all. You know, but I'll tell you something else. These two have really, really impressed me. I saw Jack there get a little upset because people weren't, his expectations got in the way, right? His expectations got in the way. So I talked to him. I said, I showed him a little different angle of it. He understood. And he says, well, I wanted it that way. And it should have happened. It didn't happen. And I said, but expectations is something that will kill you. You know, it's like when I used to think people were always talking about me, it was always about me, right? Now you can go to a bleachers, the baseball game, in the middle of a baseball game, this guy up here, way up here, will stand up and call, hey, Jimmy, hey, Jimmy. All of a sudden you stand up, you look around. You know your name's Robert, right? My name's Robert, so why would I get up and look around? All of a sudden, he would do it again in 2 more innings. Hey, Jimmy, hey, Jimmy. And then next thing you know, I said, this guy's weird, man. What's going on with this guy? And it would bug me, right? So next thing you know, he does it again, and I holler up, my name's Robert. Well, it's not about me. You know what I mean? That's the way I was thinking back then. When someone was calling someone down the street, they're calling me the wrong name. Why? Why did I need that attention? Because I wasn't getting it when I was younger. I didn't understand it when I was younger. I always get in trouble. When I connected with the bad boy people, they give me a sense of reality that I never expected. It was the wrong kind, mind you. So when I started getting clean and sober and started seeing that people truly do care for the people you are, as long as you're telling the truth, you're trying hard, you got to give the people the chance, right? So they started giving me that chance. I've met so many different people in my life. I've been on stages now with some of the top people, you know, and I've had the honors to do this for one reason, because I wanted to work on me, right? When I worked on me internally, it allowed me to be able to help others out. It allowed me to build programs that I can only dream of. So I had to learn to build the structure of my business. I had to learn how to do the foundation of my business. Now, I'm going to tell you, that was hard because I just wanted the fast cash. Come on, give me, where's the cash going to come? When's the cash going to come? But the thing is, I also learned if you don't build the foundation, if you don't build the structure of your business, you're going to crumble. And what happens when you crumble? You're obviously not going to get back up, or you're going to try in different things. Now, I tell you something. I tried 15 or 20 different names in my business. And the only reason why I picked Magnetic Entrepreneurs, when my dad was dying, right? I actually went up there seeing him. We didn't know he was dying. I went up and see him. He wanted to see the baby. I got a 2.5-year-old sitting here at this house right now, 16-year-old, a 14-year-old, and a beautiful wife. But I'm going to tell you something, right? My dad wanted to see the baby. So April 29th, we went up there. The baby was just that month old. I paid off his sticker because I retired my father. It was a good feeling, man. Imagine that, retiring your own father. He worked hard. He deserved it. I said, Dad, what do you need to retire you? And this was on Father's Day. He come up to Rama, the casino. I said, what do you need? I mean, let's go for a nice dinner, first of all. And then, how do I retire you? He said, I can't keep doing this job, but I don't have the money to retire. And I said, well, I do. I have the money. I said, I am willing to retire you. How much do you need? He said, you give me $20,000-$30,000 a year and I'll retire. That way he goes to Florida, he can spend his time out there and still be able to pay for his motorhome at the same time. I said, Dad, don't worry about the motorhome. I don't think you realize this, but I've been paying your mortgage off anyways. Right? And he goes, what do you mean? He goes, I've always wondered why the money would go back in my account when I put it out there. Because they said it was already paid, and I thought they were just losing their mind. I said, no, I actually went on your computer every time I went to fix it, and I actually got your information from your bank, and I paid it off. And he says, poof, didn't know. So today I own that RV because my dad is deceased. But the next day after he saw the baby, he died of a heart attack. All he kept saying that day was how much he loved me, how much he wanted to see the baby and loved the baby. It was the weirdest thing. For that whole weekend, I'm walking around. I'm walking around, knocking on the door, saying, hey, Dad, how do you hook up this on the RV? Dad's not here anymore. Right? So I did a live, and I don't know if you guys know Eric Thomas. He's the hip hop preacher, one of the top people in the world. He was actually watching me, and he called me up on the phone. He says, hey, you know what? You taught me a valuable lesson today. I said, what is that lesson? He goes, that we are so relying on other people. So when we rely on other people, right, it's codependency. And I said, I didn't realize I was codependent in that way. He says, well, you're looking for information on how to do something you don't know, and it's from your father. He says, that is part of codependency. And I said, okay, cool. I got to know that, right? I mean, I didn't know I was actually doing that. And he actually worked with me for 6 months to help me build my business to where it is today. Les Brown did. And then I was honored. I'm still honored to be working with Les Brown's daughter. I got to coach her for the last 2 years. And some other famous people, you know, some of them want to remain anonymous, and several people on here I'm coaching. I didn't come here by accident. You know, I do believe highly in God. I do believe highly in empowering other people. I bring people from what they don't know to what they do know. A lot of people, all right, are stagnant in their business because they don't know how to do that next step. That's where I come in. I don't care if you're a millionaire. I had a guy running an airport. He owned an airport. He couldn't get any further up on the ladder, but he was stuck. He was stuck. His thinking was right there at that level, and he couldn't go any further. When I took that level to him and I walked him through the process, he grew. He grew. He became a multi-billionaire. And you know what? The guy he's grateful. Spending time with his children now, enjoying life. Several people on here. I have two people I'm going to actually bring on in a few seconds. Well, one person at a time, because I want them to express who they are, what they do, and how I'm helping them. Right? It just gives a little credibility to it at the same time. So Jennifer, can you come on for a second, please?
I sure can. Hello.
Can you tell us who you are, please?
Sure. My name is Jennifer Woodbeck. Hello. Good morning. Or I guess it's afternoon. Good afternoon, everybody.
You're 29 minutes into it.
I know. It's afternoon. Yay.
So you have a book out, don't you?
I sure do. I just had it published about 2 months ago.
And name of it, that might help.
Yeah, I'll tell you. I'll show you even. It's pretty. My book is actually titled Butterflies and Shiny Things. It's a woman's guide on how to manage financial distractions.
And how's that working for you?
I can say much better now that I've met you. I published a book and I had no idea where to go with it. So it was a book and I didn't know what to do. So then I met Robert, thanks to Dela and some other people that his name kept popping up. And I had sent another girl, Colleen, a message. And I said, do I need to know this guy? And the big answer back was yes.
So now what are you doing today with the book and programs and your business?
Yeah. So the book is awesome. And like I said, it was published and just kind of sitting there in limbo on Amazon and what to do next. But the next steps are I'm actually developing into a course. Robert we've only been about 3 weeks now, 2 weeks in. Yeah, so he's given me some homework to do, some things to work on, some plans. I'm developing, I had this idea of financial coaching, but then how do I make that work? So Robert's giving me homework to build packages and make that all set together and what that looks like. And so when we spoke last week, the first question he asked is, how are you doing? And I said, I don't know. I'm overwhelmed. I don't know where I'm supposed to go. I feel like there's so many things, but like, how do I do any of this? And Robert, this week, we just spoke yesterday and said, how are you doing this week? I said, I have a clear vision. I know you've given me homework. I like tasks. I like to know where I'm supposed to go. So good. I know what I'm doing now.
You're on the right track.
Yeah.
Well, if somebody wanted to work with you, how would they get a hold of you?
Sure. I have a couple options. The best way is probably my email address is actually just my name, Jennifer Woodbeck, and then a 08@gmail.com. I also am the Friendly Finance Coach. So I can be found all over the internet as the Friendly Finance Coach. So feel free to look that up too. Or I could always give my phone number out, but probably if you email me, that's probably the easiest one to get a hold of me.
Perfect. Perfect. You're doing wonderful right now. You really are.
Thank you.
You switched the book over to my publishing company, and I did the forward for you. What a good read it is. I encourage everybody to read it. And hopefully people come and talk to you now. Hopefully we're going to get you out there.
Awesome. I'm excited. I have a vision now, and what I thought I could do, I just didn't know how to get there. I actually know I will get there now.
Oh, guaranteed. Guaranteed. Yeah. It's just a matter of time to get over that hump that you're stuck in, right? Remember, I told people they're stuck. People are stuck at all different levels because I'm teaching you what you don't know. That was the simplest thing.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's just a little tweak. That's all it is.
Yeah. Well, I always say you don't know what you don't know till you don't know.
Then you know. And then you know.
Yeah.
I want to thank you for your time. Thank you.
Thank you.
Tracy. Yeah, you got to do your mute.
There we go. Hello, everybody.
How are you?
I'm good. How are you? I apologize. I just literally ran in from class, so I'm a hot, sweaty mess.
What kind of class you do?
So I was teaching my Kangoo Jumps fitness class this morning.
You recently got an endorsement recently, didn't you?
I did. I got an endorsement from Tony Little. He's in the fitness, and he also does like infomercials and stuff like that. So he saw some of my stuff, and he sent me a little video endorsing myself and my studio. So that was pretty exciting.
Pretty cool.
It's pretty cool.
You're going to be holding some more classes soon, right?
I am, if we don't go to phase 2. But I also have an online program, and we partnered up with Jimgo, myself and another instructor. And so we're teaching live classes as well as pre-recorded classes. So you get basically unlimited classes every month, and it's a monthly membership that people can sign up for. And if you don't know what Kangoo Jumps are, I have them here because they're like, I don't wear heels, I wear these.
I like to see Jacques on them.
What's that?
I like to see Jacques on them.
Really?
That's right. There you go. Hey, listen, I do have men in my class.
I'd give it a try.
Over here.
Give it a try. He's probably wore the ones for the drywall before.
No, never did that.
Me neither. I just rather get up on the ladder.
No, one of these days, Robert, I'll get you into these boots. Trust me.
That would be interesting. That would be. I'll work with you in that, but I mean, in time, you never know. I know what I was like on rollerblades, and the falling hurts.
No, nobody's ever fallen in my class ever.
I don't want.
Della's actually tried the boots, so she can verify how much fun they are. They're a ton of fun. If you're looking for something different, they're a ton of fun.
How old are you?
So basically, I am on Facebook, Instagram at Kangoo, Kangoo Club, CLUB Kicks, KICKS. I also have a website, www.kangooclubkicks.ca. And so those are the best ways to get in touch with me and ask about our classes and stuff like that. And it's people look at the boots and go, how in the world did you ever get into those things? Like, where in the world did you find them? So I'll tell you a little bit, a quick Cole's Nose version of my story. But in 2011, I was actually diagnosed with breast cancer. So I was training for a half marathon at the time because my goal was to eventually do a full marathon. So I was a long distance runner. And that's when I was diagnosed. And so after my surgeries, my multiple surgeries, my chemotherapy was done, I had to go on a drug called Herceptin for a year afterwards. So after all that was kind of done, I decided to start running again when I felt I was able physically to start running. So I started training for a 5K. And during my training, I quickly figured out that because of all the medications and because of all the chemotherapy and all the drugs that I had to take to survive, I actually hurt like every time I would run, my body would physically be in pain. My joints would hurt, my knees would hurt, my hips would hurt. And I did do the 5K, but I quickly figured out that I can't do that forever. That was not sustainable for me, because I literally would be in tears crying because I was in so much pain from all of what I had been through. So I happened to see an ad for the boots. And so I went to my first class and I did an hour class, which I wasn't able to do before because I was in too much pain. I would have to leave. And I was not in pain. Nothing hurt. And I couldn't believe it. And I thought, you know what, this is a one-off. This is not something that, I think maybe I wasn't doing it right, is kind of what I was thinking.
But there's also studies from NASA too, right?
There are studies from NASA. There's study from the University of BC on the benefits of rebounding. And that's what these are. They're rebound boots. So when I went for my second class and I didn't hurt again, I was hooked. That was it. I was in. And I have not looked back, and I have been bouncing for 5 years. And now I teach, as you've heard, and I just absolutely love it, and just want to spread that joy to other people because they are super, super fun. And with the amount of benefits that you get in these boots, they actually, the rebounding action is really the only exercise you can do where it actually affects your lymphatic system in a positive way. And your lymphatic system is something that's underneath your skin. It's through your whole body, actually. And by rebounding, you actually release the toxins out of your body. So you sweat a lot more. And it's really great for cancer patients because, especially for breast cancer patients, we can get a condition called lymphedema post-surgery when they take out your lymph nodes from your armpit. So what happens is you get build up of fluid in your arm, and then it expands because it has no way to get out. And the rebounding actually helps get that fluid out so that you don't get that lymphedema. So I've been very fortunate not to have any lymphedema in my arms because of the rebounding. So
now, another reason why you know this too, right, is what do you do for a living?
My other little job is I'm a registered nurse. I work in the operating room at our local hospital here. So
that just gives you a little bit more credibility. And by the way, thank you for the frontline work right at this moment.
Thank you. No problem.
One of the worst moments right now, especially when we're hitting phase 2.
I know. Yes.
I know everybody was a little scared for me a little while ago because they were a little concerned what was going on with me. It's not cancer. It's fixable. It's fixable. All it is I have to change my diet, and I'll be back. Might just have to bounce around once in a while. Jack and I will come bouncing one day.
Exactly. I have men in my class. Trust me. So that's
for your time. You know what? You got an upcoming book going to be released. We're looking forward to releasing that.
Yes. Too. And I just want to say one more thing. I've just started working with Robert. I guess it's been about a month now. Mm-hmm. And I was connected with him through Dela. Dela is like the Kevin Bacon of this world. She gets to everybody. And so that's how I got connected with Robert. And it's just, I'm learning so much from having that experience and learning what, like, you know, what other people have said, what we don't know. I knew I wanted to go from A to B with my business, but I didn't know how to get there. Because being a nurse by trade, we're not taught the business aspect. We're not taught how to do all these different things that I needed to learn to get my business to go from A to B. So that's what has been helping me tremendously understand business. And, you know, Robert's helping me figure out that knowledge that I'm missing as well. And so we've done, like I said, 4 weeks now, and it's been a great experience so far. So yay. Thank you, Robert.
Appreciate
And
it.
thank you for having me on this, for this little chit chat today. Thank you.
Well, I figured I'd bring a couple students in. It was a surprise to everybody else. Nobody else knew. All right. Thank you for your time. Jack, I
Oh,
want
thank
to
you.
talk to you for a minute. Right?
All ears. And thanks, Tracy. Thank you very much to be on our summit, and we look forward to see you a whole lot more.
You
You
remember?
know, we go to school to learn all processes and about everybody else,
Yeah.
but we all forget to learn about ourselves.
Mm.
And this is what this summit is about. That's what self-education is. It's about understanding ourselves and others. And when we do, now things start to make sense. And I think that's why on a 30-day window, it can make such a difference in your life. It's people don't realize how quick you can pivot or turn your life around just in a matter of just a few days. It's like how you see clearly where you're going in your life, the direction you're going. So again, Tracy, I appreciate for you to be on our summit. And back to you, Robert.
Check this out. Remember the video you seen not too long ago before we started working, and you did a video at another event, another person's event. Remember the video I showed you, and you're like, "Oh my God, that was awesome."
Yeah, boy, yeah. Is there ever a big difference? I think in the because I think as you gain experience, you gain confidence, and when you gain confidence, you gain also everything is about learning. We're all in a learning curve, just different curves for all of us. And there's a saying in life that says that when the student is ready, the teacher always will appear. And that is so true in anything that we do in our lives. Because if you're not teachable, how can you teach somebody?
You want to know when you're growing? When the teacher backs off and let you do your job.
Yeah.
That's what I did with you and Dela both with this here event. And you guys are doing an absolutely amazing job.
Well, thank you.
You know what I mean? That's when you know that you're doing and you're learning. That's when it compliments me, because I'm watching you guys do it. I mean, I don't need people to praise me about it. I just need to say you guys are doing amazing.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what I love seeing. When I sit there and see my students growing and possibly going to outgrow me, that's the best part of it. You know, because I want you all to pass me. I want you all to have a successful career. You know what I mean? I'm happy bringing other people to the level and passing me.
I think the best thing about this is when you have the information and the knowledge and the experience is, I think the most rewarding thing there is to pass it forward.
That's right.
Pass it forward to somebody else. If someone took his time to help you, then I think it's only normal, or I wouldn't say, I think it's urgent that you should pass it along to somebody else that needs it. Somebody did it to you. Why not do it to others? And this would have such a better world if everybody was thinking like that. And this is what this summit is about. It's about to spread the world, to spread the word of self-education, how important it is, especially with the COVID-19 going on right now. There's people are not used to live together. People are not used to be confined. People are not used. It's a whole new world for everybody, and nobody seems to know which way to go. So this gives you at least an indication or a direction where you could go. Just find out what you want, and then follow the dream, but follow by personal development. There's people that's done it.
It's so true. So true.
Yeah.
So does anybody have any questions before I know Dela does.
Thank you, Robert. That was awesome. Thank you. Your story is so powerful. We kept on getting all these comments from everybody who's watching, just amazing outpour of love towards you. Everybody says they love your story. And people are just sending testimonials that you are an incredible publisher and a great coach. And everybody agrees. There are no questions at this point, but I want to make sure that people can get in touch with you. I would ask Lisa to please post your contact information. I mean, not that it's hard to get in touch with you, Robert J. Moore, just the magnetic entrepreneur.
That's quite easy to get a hold of me.
And there's a comment also from Olga, and it says incredible story of resilience. I just lost the comments, one section. Okay, incredible person, real example of resilience and strength. Agreed. Yes, very much so. And Lizzie thinks that I am your ambassador, Robert.
You pretty much are. You pretty much are. I mean, you've connected me with a few people, and I'm working strong with them. And you know, it just goes to show that me working with you and the respect that you're given, you're allowing that to go out to other people, right, and telling people. So I thank you for that. I mean, you're doing a wonderful job here with Jack. You know, you guys are an amazing couple working on this project. I can't wait to see what holds your future to make it even bigger and better next time. You figure there's like 460 people strong here today.
Amazing.
All the platforms.
Well, just now, and I mean, this is going to reach thousands of people as people will share this talk, because so much was already given today. There's so much inspiration, there's so much information, so much motivation for change. And I don't know about you, but there's nothing I'd rather do than spend my time with positive people and positivity and learn a few things, right? That's one of my top 5 passions in life, is to learn something new every day. And I'm sure that everybody who's here right now feels exactly the same way. So I want to thank you, Robert, for everything you do for everyone, all these thousands and thousands of lives that you have touched, not only with your story, but with the way you generously give of your time. And I know that as a coach, I have never met anyone who's more generous with their time than you. I mean, you are so patient. And my mom, one time, she asked me, she's like, where does he get his patience from? So,
one of my thesis was in my counseling was anger management. And I actually teach that now. So I mean, so I kind of do it on myself. So when I get angry, it's like 2-3 minutes. I cuss swear and I'm back to normal. Got the trucker mouth, and that's it. Well, listen, I want to say the person that's going to win a prize from me today, what I'm going to give them is going to change their life. It's going to be 1 month of coaching, 1 month of coaching, which is 4 different individual hours, plus a chapter in one of my books. That is huge. You become an international bestseller. So it's almost a $5,000 deal. And you know what? I'm not the kind of person that goes small, so I have to go big. It's just me. You know what I mean? I'm the kind of person, and sometimes I even give more than that, but this is what I'm willing to give you. To the person that wins, I can't wait to meet up with you. Jack just won the other day a beautiful gift from me. Marianne didn't hear this yet, so I guess you get to hear it now. Jack won. What I did was I had 10 people in the poll. I went to my wife. I said, pick 5. I went to my daughter. I said, do me a favor, pick 3. I went to my other daughter. I said, pick 2. And then I went to my young son, and honest to God, he picked Jack. So he won writing the book with me. It's a $15,000 deal. So him and I are going to be writing a book together on probably personal development, because he's been dying to do one with that. And we're going to push it out there, and I'm going to up-brand him a bit more on that level. So, but I want to thank everybody here for being here, especially Jack and Dela for putting their time in to helping other people, putting this together. and really making this work. You know, it's the first event you ever hosted, and I'm very excited to see what lies ahead of this. And you know, and I'm like honored to be here, man. This is pretty cool.
Well, thank you, Robert. I gotta say that to anyone that is watching today, there's so many people of us that have a book inside them, but it's just don't know how to get it out. And that I find that so many times that I talk to people say, oh, I'd love to write a book. I always wanted to write a book when I was younger, but never find the time, or I thought it was too complicated. It's too long a process. I don't know anybody. Well, now you do. Robert J. Moore is the guy, is the go-to guy. If you ever want to learn how to write a book, he's the guy to go to, because is we always overthink ourselves about how difficult it is to do things, but it is so much simpler when you listen to a professional to coach you how to write a book, and it's a lot easier than you ever thought it was possible. And after the fact that is your book is written, it's what comes after. Robert is right there for us. So I guarantee that if you guys are looking for somebody, Robert is the guy. Well,
Yeah,
thanks, Robert, for all your coaching you did.
I include all the formatting, the cover page, the editing,
Yeah.
all one price. And you know what? I do the upfront stuff, not the behind stuff. It's all the stuff that you get 100% royalties of your book back, and people love that. I mean, it's the best way to go. It builds a beautiful organic relationship with the people, and I help them make international bestseller at the same time. You know.
Robert, there's a comment you're gonna like here. It's on YouTube. It's believe in yourself, and he says, Robert, holy mackerel, Robert, where did the rest of you go?
Yeah, I've been losing a little bit of weight lately. I've been on this. Well, I was either lived the way I was living. I mean, sometimes we forget that we need to work on ourselves. So I got reminded by my own health that it was mandatory to work on me. So needless to say, I have lost 53 or 54 pounds. I'm looking at going another 38 pounds to make it an even number. And because I got for the last 3 months, I've been not laying down. I've been sitting on the couch, sleeping, sitting upright, because I couldn't lay down because I had such bad heartburn. They thought it was cancer for a while because it was in my throat. It had me on a scare, and I didn't tell nobody. I talked to one person, I think it was Tracy I talked to, because she is a nurse, so I want to talk to her about that. And honestly, it was like a month and a half of like, what the hell am I going to do? I said to the wife, I said, what happens if I die? She said, what happens if you die? And I said, I guess you're going to go on welfare, I guess. And she says, no, I'm going to kill myself to bring you back and then smack you around a bit. Straighten up, she says. And I said, well, okay. I said, I'll do something with my health and try and work on that. I'm feeling better these days. I just got to realize that eating out all the time, when the pandemic or plandemic, I call it, hit, the problem is I was always eating out. It was fast foods and stuff like that. It was pretty greasy stuff. And I have to do better in that. So I started eating a lot of different salads. And believe it or not, I actually like a salad now. I never used to like salads. You know, I felt like a rabbit though at first, but it's okay. Lots of soups, soups are nice, especially when you get cold. You know, Marianne had a nice soup there the one time. I went to her house. She had a nice soup there, and we had some stuff, macaroni stuff. It was really nice. So I've learned to take care of myself, which, you would think I would learn that a long time ago, being a therapist. But you get so busy. You work 18 hours a day. You're trying to get things. As soon as the pandemic hit, I mean, COVID's here. All of a sudden, you got almost 40 students. So you're trying to juggle it all at once. Plus, you got another course. Later on today, you're going to hear from Laurier McNeil. A lot of you guys were already in my course. It was Celebrity You, where we bring people to a whole new level. And that's something that you guys can learn more about through us. And even Dela was in there. Jack was in there. Hannah was in there. It's very powerful. very powerful to know something that you don't know. Like Jennifer was saying, you know, you don't know what you don't know, but when you do know, it's like, really, that's it? I was missing that little piece, you know. But it's amazing how we overlook things. It's like my health. I overlooked that. I was great at helping other people, shitty at helping myself. And it's like a mechanic. An old mechanic, because his car is awful shitty. All of a sudden, everybody else's car around him is in great shape. You know, a carpenter's the same way. A carpenter's the same way. Everybody's house is like mint. You go to his house, well, I haven't got to that project yet. Why? You know what I mean? By the time they get home, they don't want to work.
So Robert, it's Robert Brooker, actually, with, I guess the name of his company is Believe in Yourself. Robert Brooker says, Robert was there for me when I really needed it.
Yeah, he was definitely stressed out at one time. Same with Nardia. She just come on. Her and I met up to Verbreeze. She was at the event, the Guinness World Record event. Same with Jacques there. You know, there's several people on here that actually got their Guinness World Record for participation. It's amazing the people you help. I'm going to explain something quick before I get off here. When you're doing a live and you're scared to do a live, just do a minute if you have to. Just talk about something. It doesn't really matter what. Until you get used to it, then you can start talking about the topics that mean something to you. You got to remember, you're only staring at a little hole in the computer. You don't really see yourself, right? But the thing is, when we have a habit of looking at the screen where we are. Try and look at the camera, like right here, the camera, right? And it makes a difference because people think that you're actually talking to them when you're actually doing that. When you stretch it out, you know, I would say do about 3 minutes the most, because people's brains actually don't like to digest too much, especially at first when they're getting to know you. When people are getting to know you, there's a difference in life. You want to do it organically. You don't want to just jump on and say, "Hey, listen, I got this product here. I want to sell it to you." They're going to kick you to the curb. So if you're going to add me as a friend or like my stuff, I would appreciate at least you introduce yourself, get to know me, and let's get to know organically what you're about. Because one thing I won't tolerate is someone trying to ram their stuff down my throat and make me buy it, because I'm not going to, you know, and that's something I won't do. I don't appreciate that very much. And I appreciate the respect. I like putting respect out to other people, but I got to learn to look after myself too, right?
So Robert, we have a comment from Lisa. She calls herself the new kid on the block. But I mean, she's helped tremendously putting this amazing summit together. She helped us out with all the technical stuff, all the social media stuff. She put together that beautifully edited video together for us. And she says that you are already connecting her to amazing people. Thank you, Lisa. You are pretty amazing yourself.
Appreciate it. Yeah, she's doing a good job behind the scenes. She deserves that credit for sure.
Absolutely. And so a lot of people are very grateful to you, Robert J. Moore. Thank you so much for taking care of yourself so that the rest of us could enjoy the benefits you have. It's a blessing to have you in this world. And we want to thank you for being on this platform to bring your knowledge, to bring your story, inspiring, amazing, wonderful Robert J. Moore. Thank you so much again.
And I want to see it all kind of climbing to the top, whatever the top is in your field, right? The thing is, everybody has a different top. Don't sit there and fall for, oh, wow, we have to be up here in millions of dollars. Millions of dollars is not going to make you happy. The internal piece is. Remember that. If you're happy doing what you're doing, look, I own a business. I don't work. I have fun, and I make money doing it. Just enjoy yourself. Go with the flow.
Wonderful.
Well, thank you, Robert.
Appreciate it.
That was a great, I think is people get their money is worth, even though they got it free tickets. But I tell you, it's Dela is what do you think? We had a great morning, didn't we?
Oh my gosh, has it ever been so great? I'm telling you, I'm having so much fun. And have you noticed I have not sat down for 1 second? I'm enjoying myself. I want to encourage everybody to please change your position. If you've been sitting down since 10 o'clock, we've started 3 hours ago. change your position, move around a little bit, maybe get up and do a little bit of stretching. And we have amazing speakers yet to come. Jack, this has been a fabulous morning. Is it okay if we take a quick break before we introduce our next guest?
Absolutely. How long do you want the break to be?
So no, just a few minutes of maybe encouraging everybody to stretch, to take a few deep breaths, if that's okay with you. Please squeeze your shoulders up high, bring them up to your ears, and then breathe out. Let go one more time. Up and good. Now roll them up and hold them back. Squeeze your shoulders back and let go. Okay, take a couple of deep breaths here, all the way to your lower abs. Feel your stomach blow up like a balloon. And out. Because so many of us just breathe in our chest, and we really need to breathe way down deeper. One more breath. That's great. Awesome. Thank you so much for playing. Okay, Jack, what do you say? We bring out our next speaker, who is fantastic, fabulous. I can't wait to hear from her.
Absolutely. Well, our next speaker is Rekrut. Rekrut is a keynote speaker, a 3-time award-winning author, and an international best-selling author. She's an established real estate investor, property developer, talk show host, producer of a real estate media news, and the president of the Real Estate Investor Association. Maria is passionate about real estate investing and promotes it in any way she can. She has an online newspaper as well as her own weekly radio and TV show called The Maria Rekrut and All Things Real Estate. Maria has been nominated 4 times as the Businesswoman of the Year, and she's been the only female to be the Hydro Commissioner of the NOTL, which is the Niagara of the Lake Hydro Commission. Well, it gives me a great pleasure to introduce you to Maria Rekrut.
Thank you. Thank you very much, everyone. And thank you to Robert, Jacques, and Dela, and to everyone else who's all part of this wonderful summit. You know, I'm in my 60s. I'm not going to go into, I'm not going to tell you exactly how old I am, but I've been in business since 1982. And I've had my ups and downs with business and my ups and downs within my own marriage. And I don't bring that up very often, but if you go on my website, realwealthrealestate.com, you can read my story of how I started. I left in New York City because my husband and I, who was a physician, he's passed away in the meantime. We had a business there doing medical exams for insurance companies. Now, that's not my background. I went to Europe, studied music in Europe, and I wanted to teach. I mean, I'm a teacher by nature. You're going to find out as you get to know me. I'm just a teacher, very much like Robert is, very much. He's my teacher, and I look to everyone else to teach me, and I teach them because I give back that way, right? So we had a business in New York City, my husband and I left New York City. I wanted to come back to Canada. I'm a Canadian. I had been in Europe for 10 years, had been in New York City from 1982 to 1986, which was 4 years. We did very, very well with the business, but I didn't like the lifestyle, you know, that fast pace, millions of people. So I came back to the Niagara Lake area and moved here. And I came here with nothing. I left my husband behind because things just weren't going well with the marriage. So I came to Niagara Lake and I had nothing. I didn't have a house. I didn't have a car. I didn't have a job. I didn't have anything. But I knew I had to start from scratch. And, you know, I was very fortunate that I had my parents that supported me, not financially, but with kind words. And I remembered one time, I was 36 years old when I returned here in 1986. You can figure out how old I am now. And I said to my father when he picked me up from I rented a little apartment building. a little apartment, sorry to say. And I said to my father when he picked me up, he was driving me around to find jobs or whatever else I was finding. And I said, Poppy, because I love my dad, I called him Poppy. I said, Poppy, I don't think I can do this. I said, I don't know if I have the strength to start all over again because I had nothing. I knew no one. Think about it. I came from New York City, Europe, came to Niagara on the Lake. I knew no one. And he says, Maria, this is just a little blip in the road for you. He says, you'll do fine. He said, you know, this is just the beginning of your life. You'll do fine. And we're here to support you if you need anything. So, of course, his kind words. And I never, they never supported me financially. I wouldn't have wanted that. I've always been a very independent young woman. Always had my own money, worked hard for it. So I started my life in the Niagara on the Lake area, and I had a vision. I was going to purchase my own home, get a new car, and start my business. So how did I do that? Well, I started working 7 jobs, all part-time jobs. So I would run from place to place to place to place, and I got a little car. I paid $500 for, you're going to laugh at this. It was a Gremlin. It's a cute little Gremlin car. My father had to teach me even how to drive because it was a stick shift. My father and I were in the car and he was teaching me. But it's interesting because the car was for sale for $600. And I went to the woman, I said, look, can we negotiate? Can I give you 500? She says, yeah. So, you know, I've always been a negotiator. Okay. So she gave it to me for $500, got the car and said to Pop, my father, okay, Pop, I don't know how to drive this car. You want to teach me? So here he